Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for March 27th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 86. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, well, we talk about 10 articles. First article is Honda's Dangle, Robin Hood delivers, Fire Resilient Community, PAX Australia, Apple CarPlay should copy Android, Tequila Ocho Old Barrel. How about Rivian Micromobility? And a dog-inspired robot. There's another dog-inspired robot already, but anyway. How about fighting bacteria? Put up your dukes. And a new sci-fi movie that copies Scott. Who's Scott? Anything. Everything and anything, I guess, is over at ohmTown.com. So go over and become a citizen. Follow us here on Twitch and here on YouTube. We got two different monitors pointing at two different things. And I think that everything is wonky still. I don't, this doesn't feel right. I need to be over there.
Right, if you were pointing the other way, but they were in the other spot, then it would work.
Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
I'm not looking at you. I'm looking near you.
No, you're looking away from me.
I'm looking away from you. I've turned my back on the sentient AI. Boo. All right. Well, like I said, I'm Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com. The sentient AI tries to keep me in line. Rarely happens. Tries to keep me on track. Sometimes happens. Anyway, let's get going. Sound good? Let's check out Honda's Dangle. You want to see Honda's Dangle? Just say no.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Here, hold on. All right. Well, anyway. So, and to find out what I just did, all you podcast listeners are going to have to go over to either Twitch or YouTube and check out the March 27th episode of Non Sequitur News. All right. Or you're listening now. You could be listening to this live, large, and in charge. Maybe not. All right. Well, anyway, Honda dangles a couple of 2026 passports from a crane to show off how beefy the recovery hooks are. You might assume recovery hooks are straightforward, but Honda had to strike a balance between strength and safety on the new 2026 passport. The article is by Aaron Marquis over at jalopnik.com. And there it is. There's an actual video of this. Basically, it's this big crane with two Honda Passport Trail Sports hanging from a recovery point of another Honda Passport Trail. So there's Honda's Dangle.
Does that kind of remind you of the school bus measurements?
Yeah. So this crane is 3 Honda Passport Trail Sports. Is it a surveillance Honda Passport Trail Sport?
I don't know. Nobody should try to shoot it down when it floats overhead. Yeah,
same with aliens. If you see an alien, don't shoot at it. Okay, we don't want an international crisis or an interplanetary crisis, let alone an international.
Exactly.
So it's probably become quite clear how the brand was going to celebrate its first pair, in the context of Honda's Dangle, the first pair of exposed tow hooks on a truck. Hook 3 of the SUV together and dangle them like fishing lures over the brand's proving grounds in Cantil, California. It's a no-brainer. Honda drained 3 Passport Trail Sports of their life-giving fluids and stuck the transmissions into neutral. Safety first, kids. Before the attempt, but everything else about the cars was stock Honda design. So there's a video of it. It's over on the YouTubes. You can go over and check that out. But if you want today's articles, oh no, yeah, I did it. Okay, hold on. You can hit !NSN and ohmTown will spit the articles out in the order that we're going over them. There is no particular order to this.
Yes, that's clear.
Oh, Very nice. Touche. So due to the critical role they play, the recovery hooks are installed at our Alabama auto plant with unique torque tools rather than manual or pneumatic tools, which helps associates install the recovery points on the precise specifications. Do you think it might be a side gig for the bolt installer for Boeing door panels?
Oh, yeah, it might be. Hopefully they weren't on vacation.
As long as they don't go on vacation. Anyway, I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know how big these are. I might have to go and check out a Honda Passport Trail Sport to see. Because I'm looking for a new car kind of thing. We'll see. I don't know. Probably not. It's not worth the search, I guess. I don't know. In this economy, are you kidding me? All right, let's keep going. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Now Robinhood says it'll deliver cash to your door. Robinhood plans to launch online banking, which it says will include perks like home cash deliveries. The service will offer a 4% annual interest rate, which is spectacular. Robinhood said in its announcement, it's going to be launching a wealth management platform and AI investment tools. We're screwed.
I don't really get this like door-to-door thing. I mean, are they going to have like armored trucks?
Or you have to sign off that it's a risk you'll have to take if that person gets jacked in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they're not going to have like Robin Hood vehicles or uniforms or whatever. Like this could be kind of a problem.
Yeah, so if you have an investment account over at Robinhood, now you can exfiltrate some of your cash and have it delivered like so much of an Uber or DoorDash. And hopefully it doesn't get delivered into some robber's hands. Do you think the people that are going to deliver it are like college kids who don't really give a shit about getting robbed and they're like, here's my money, bye?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm less worried about the cash than the delivery drivers.
Yeah, you got to worry about them. Although, rise of the sociopath. So, Nora Redmond over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together. 4% annual interest rate on the account. That's like 4% higher than
sticking it in your drawer.
Or a bank.
Right.
Yeah. So, in the announcement, the California headquartered financial technology company outlined a number of incentives that will be offered to Robinhood banking, including cash delivery. I can't believe anybody would be interested in that. Hey, I need to take $20 out.
Well, right. I guess it's like a mobile ATM.
The service offers a 4% annual interest rate and deposit insurance up to $2.5 million via FDIC. $2.5 million? That's the most I've ever heard.
Right. I thought it was normally $250,000, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. It'll offer international transfers to over 100 currencies and whole family accounts for partners and children. Wow. Pushing the boundaries indeed. The fintech firm's gold membership costs $5 monthly and $50 annually and gives users access to Robinhood's premium features. Perks include IRA matches and options of margin trading. Be careful of that. So they say the management fee for, I guess, the wealth management side of things is going to be a service fee of 2.5% of the assets under management a year. Robinhood Gold members will pay management fees on $100,000 of assets in their accounts, which is anybody who's using Robinhood is probably already at that. If you're going to be using it for that level of stuff,
Right. Plus, there's also chances to get tickets to kind of high demand events. That might be worth it right there.
Yeah. Everybody that runs ohmTown, though, doesn't have to worry about that stuff. We're stuck inside, is what I'm saying. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over on the Hatch Ideas channel. KB Home unveils its first fire-resilient community in Southern California. I suspect that this is the Three Little Pigs model.
Yes. This is also like how to announce none of your homes have been fire safe previously.
Touche, yet again. So, yeah. how to say our houses burned down fast without saying our houses burned down fast. So the KB Home is the first large production builder to unveil a community designed to fire resilient standards by the Insurance Institute for Business and Fire Safety. You know how you make your house fire proof? Yeah, 3D printed out of cement.
Aha.
But I don't think that that's what's going on here. Because regardless of what's going on outside or inside. Okay, that's fascinating. That is really fascinating. Anyway, Diana Olick over at CNBC put this article together. The key points that they so nicely put together at the top of their page is California-based KB Home is unveiling what it's calling the first wildfire resilient community, meeting standards that protect the homes against the three major sources of ignition during a wildfire. So keeping electrical power lines way away, I suppose.
Right, probably so, and probably shrubbery away from the home, although maybe, I don't know if that's involved in their plan.
I think you have to say that like a Monty Python actor again. A shrubbery. As climate change causes more severe drought in more areas of the country, focus shifting on fire-resilient homes and communities. Like I said, 3D print it and you're golden. Your walls will not catch on fire. Your roof will not catch on fire if you make it out of metal, too. Hey, look at that.
True, but it might be a little warm.
That's what insulation is for. Air conditioning is for. So the homes range from $1 million to the low millions, which, what does that mean? How about 1 million and up?
I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean like single digit millions, or does that mean like 2 million? I don't know.
Which tends to be a move up price in the area of Escondido, just outside San Diego. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, the development in Escondido, just outside San Diego, will have 64 single-family homes when completed, and all meet the wildfire resilience standards developed by the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, the IBHS, which irritable.
Yeah, that does sound like that. Like, I don't think companies always think about their acronyms and abbreviations.
So it's a nonprofit scientific research and communications organization supported by property insurance or insurers. These standards are designed to protect the home against the three major sources of ignition during a wildfire. Wait, ignition during a wildfire? Oh, flying embers, flames, and radiant heat. So that's why I say it doesn't matter what's inside these walls. If it's timber, it can ignite because of the heat itself. It'll smolder, eventually catch fire.
Right.
Anyway, Regional General Manager of KB Home Coastal Division said that he and his colleagues saw a fire-resistant home demonstration by IBHS at the Pacific Coast Builders Conference last summer and were impressed by the opportunity that this type of community presented. So that's what they did. They're building it. Yeah, so one of the things that I have said time and time again is you got to get rid of the shrubbery around the perimeter of the house.
Exactly, like clear the whole land.
Yep. No external facing wooden anything. No wood beams anywhere near it. And you have to protect the gas line on the side. So hopefully the gas line is underneath. There's always a meter on the outside, so you got to protect that in some way. So that's what that perimeter is for. So pretty neat. I'm glad that they're doing it. The people in Hawaii who didn't have their houses burned down basically followed that right there. That there was a path around it that was nothing more than gravel or rocks, and their houses didn't burn down. So good on them. Anyway, the subdivision is built by KB Home, really a test bed to show the resiliency part and demonstrate it. They know that KB Home already has 2 other projects there in Escondido looking at duplexes and other kinds of townhomes. And they imagine that other builders are going to be quickly following suit. Yeah, the whole acceptability of this, if you have the gravel around the house, at some point society just buys into it. It just needs to be accepted.
It's like things haven't really caught up to what we need. It's not all about aesthetics. It's, maybe not wanting your house to burn down.
And it can still be aesthetically delivered. So I agree. It's when you say it's not about aesthetics, people are going to have to buy into it. And cultural norms have changed year after year, you know. It all depends on the society at large. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in Warcrafters. Tickets for PAX Australia 2025 are on sale now, scheduled to take over the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Center, from October 10th and 12th to the 12th. PAX Australia 2025 will perch at the tail. What the heck am I? Interesting. Sorry about that. So tickets are on sale now. Apparently more than half of the 3-day badges have already been sold. The article is over at pcgamer.com. Jody McGregor put the article together. It'll run for 3 days from October 10th to 12th, where you too can dress up as a neon orange or yellow stormtrooper. That's what the picture is on the thing. Anyway, last year's PAX Australia played host to Cult of the Lamb themed weddings, a Medusa-shaped gaming PC that doubled as a commentary on AI, and a memer shooter, a sequel 420 Blaze It 2. Who knows what 2025's edition will bring? Maybe the AI back.
Yeah, you know, I try to make an appearance once in a while.
Every once in a while. Is your visualizer still working?
No.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it was just kind of lagged or something.
Weird. I don't know what's going on. Pardon me. So the banners at PAX Australia traditionally say "Welcome Home," a tagline for the event that sums up its hospitality or its hospitable vibe. One second.
Everything is going haywire in ohmTown today.
Yeah, production value at an all-time high. So anyway, let's jump to it. Tickets are available online. It'll be tough to top Valve showing up to reveal the long-awaited Australian launch of the Steam Deck, but it'll be interesting to see what they've got planned. Banners at PAX Australia traditionally say "Welcome Home," something about their hospitality vibe, and another 3 days of playing indie or hospitable vibe. There's whatever. I don't know.
It seems like it should be hospitality.
Yeah. Well, anyway, another 3 days of playing indie games at the PAX Rising booths and racing from panel to panel, with maybe a moment to chill out at the Paint and Take Minis table. Sounds like an excellent time. I don't know, anytime you can play games all day is
that fun. For figures?
Yeah. Minis. But, or you can apparently dress up as a neon orange or yellow stormtrooper.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun.
All right, let's keep going. That is stormtroopers. Yeah, it is. I mean, with whatchamacallit.
But which climate? You know, that's like when you see the different variations, but I've never seen the neon ones.
Layering. Oh, yeah, what is that? Where would that be?
That's like tropical stormtroopers or something. I don't know.
Oh my god, tropical stormtroopers. Tropical storm troopers. Tropical storm.
There you go.
Wow. So the next article is over in the Wanted channel. Apple CarPlay should copy Android Auto's push for more car control right now. Drivers with Android phones are beginning to see Android Auto 14 roll out. The real story is that Google has been experimenting with behind the scenes. And in a recent APK teardown by Android Authority, they learned that Google is working on climate control support, meaning that in the future, users you'll be able to adjust air conditioning, window defrosting, and even heating their seats from the same place that they normally control Spotify and Google Maps.
That seems efficient, but kind of scary.
Well, apparently in Europe, there's a big push to move away from all of the stuff. All of the
like no infotainment systems.
Yeah, and it's just your phone, and you click it in place, and you're done, and it links up, and everything, all the telemetry and controls are on the phone.
That sounds nice in theory.
Yeah, I love the idea of this. So this is what I've always wanted. You know, 30 years ago, when cell phones were basically new beasts. I don't know how long ago. It's been a long time. I'm getting old. But anyway, even the car that I designed had nothing more than you lock a computer in place and you can take it with you. And then without that thing, you can't steal the car. You have to have the one that's linked up with your vehicle. So anyway, it was a great idea, I thought. So Roger Fingus over at pocket-lint.com, whoever it is that owns pocket-lint.com, please give that to them.
That would make Mayor Watt very happy.
Yeah. So there's no sign of this coming to Apple CarPlay anytime soon, but they are saying, pocket-lint.com is saying, and again, Roger Fingus says, Apple should definitely make this all a functional thing for the Apple ecosystem as well. And I agree. I want to be able to control my car via my phone. We're not talking self-driving and all of that kind of stuff, but just all of the doodads and whatnot.
Yeah, we're not ready for that.
Allow me to tap into the radio if I don't play something off of my phone. Just have the equipment in there, and I can just tap into the software-defined radio and dial in whatever station I want. Because I don't need all of this. All of this doesn't mean anything to me. It's really cool, but I'm not looking at all of this.
Right,
I'm looking
what
at that.
you're looking at is the tablet or whatever.
Right. Just give me a spot for it. So, Ghost of Next Gen CarPlay, the revolution will be postponed. I don't know if this is a different article. Almost feels like it. If nothing else, Apple may be forced to admit that it's a little too ambitious when it announced the next-gen CarPlay in 2022. Whenever it gets here, the idea is that CarPlay will be able to take over every screen in compatible device or vehicles, including, but not...
Oh, I see. There's a critter.
Oh, no. Oh, God, not again. All right. Well, anyway, there's no sign that the next-gen platform will launch anytime soon, so here's to hoping that they'll actually remedy this and get it all out there. I won't be able to fix that anytime soon. Little demon is in here. Let's keep going. The next article is in the Order of the Grape channel over at ohmTown.com. It's typically for wine fans, but this is because it's sourced from vinepair.com. So on Tuesday, Tequila Ocho announced that it'll release two... Oh, wait. The title of this is Tequila Ocho announces new añejo expression aged in rare old Fitzgerald barrels. What is an old Fitzgerald barrel?
Fitzgerald was a brand. I think old is part of the name.
Yeah, it is. Old Fitzgerald. So on Tuesday, Tequila... Old Fitzgerald barrels. Yeah, so... I gave it the title Tequila Ocho Old Barrel. So the powerhouse beverage brands teamed up to craft two 2023 vintages of Tequila Ocho Añejo Barrel Select Old Fitzgerald. It's a hell of a name.
What do you think they do with that on the packaging? Does it wrap around the bottle multiple times?
It does twice, yeah. I think that I'm going to have to grab your Raspberry Pi and take you over to the nearest liquor store and see if we can find the longest name in a tequila bottle I've ever seen.
And we can report back in ohmTown.
Yes, we'll show you what it looks like in the real world, I guess, if they have it. So tequilas were produced from fields overseen by the Camarena family, featuring two microclimates that produce agaves with distinct flavor profiles. One of the expressions is made with plants harvested from the deep clay-like soil of Rancho Corralitos, which lies at low altitude, while the other is sourced from a different temperament. Hannah Staub over at vinepair.com put the article together. That's what it looks like.
I don't see enough words on there.
Yeah, they break it down a little bit. Hold on. Let's see if I can find... It's called Tequila Ocho. So Tequila Ocho. I don't know where the añejo is. Is that it?
Yeah,
that looks like it.
Well enough.
Añejo. Barrel Select Old Fitzgerald. So that's right there. Barrel Select Old Fitzgerald. So it takes up the whole label. Both liquids were aged for 12 months in recently emptied barrels that previously held Old Fitzgerald Prize 10-year-old Spring 2023 Decanter Series. Weeded
They
bourbon.
need to throw all that on the label too.
I'm sure it is on the back label, and were bottled at 96 proof. According to the brand, the barrels impart soft notes of toasted coconut, maple syrup, toffee, and cacao. Oh my.
Yay, the microphone's back.
I'll be in my... No, never mind. So the tequilas will be offered for a suggested retail price of $110 per 750 milliliter bottle, which, if I were to buy that bottle for $110 today, the daily operating existence of that bottle before it's empty would probably be 1 penny, because I would never get through 750 milliliters of...
Exactly.
At least not on my own.
The cost per serving would be quite low.
Yeah, I'd be having to take that thing to parties. Although, in my lifetime, I have had somebody bring a bottle for themselves to a party. Actually, it was vodka in one hand and orange juice in the other hand, and they would pour both into their mouth periodically. And then...
I guess that's efficient.
Yeah. And they would offer it to other people, and nobody would really take her up on it. And then, after the place had been shut down... Did you see something?
I saw a wild critter. And lots of detail.
So after everybody had left, and people who were staying the night had crashed on couches and floors and whatever else, this person comes barreling out of a room screaming, "You know what I need right now? You know what I need?" And I just spontaneously belted out, "Some effing peace and quiet." So yeah. Oh man, I want to scream based on an email that I just got. But anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. Rivian launches micromobility startup called Also. First product will be an e-bike.
Wait, also, what?
No.
What's the also?
No.
What's the other information?
Just Also. Not something else. Just Also. Got it?
Not really, but okay.
I also want an e-bike. What the heck? Sorry. So Rivian's new micromobility spinoff is potentially a great idea with a terrible name. Oh, they even call it out. Jalopnik.
Okay,
Ryan,
that was the author, not us.
Yeah. Ryan Eric King, the author of this article, over at jalopnik.com, put this article together. It says Rivian stated that Also deserved independence to be optimized around different products, brand positioning, and markets. That does make sense to some degree, with Rivian currently producing large trucks and also developing e-bikes. All right. So
I'm
it says,
still
however,
confused by the Also, but okay.
I don't get it either. So does it say something up here in the top? No. They've been quietly developing e-bikes for years, but I guess they're spinning it off. Rivian isn't the first car company to build a bicycle. Cycles Peugeot did that too, but we already talked a couple of days ago about the fact that Ford has an e-bike.
Ford Bronco, yes. And
Ford
it's
Bronco
available
e-bike.
at Pedigo.
Yeah.
I just figured out why they're all making bikes.
Why?
The price of cars is so expensive that now they're going to put the e-bikes out there for like, whatever, $20,000 or something. And people are going to be like, it's a bargain.
Sounds like a good deal. So while micromobility is a term that emerged during the first decade or the last decade, Rivian is far from the first car manufacturer to be building bicycles. Peugeot did it back in 1882, but it wasn't an e-bike, I don't think. Although the first...
Yeah, but I'm not sure that really counts, because wasn't that like pre-automobile?
No. 1882?
Oh, okay.
There were cars. There was actually an electric car in the late 1800s. Let me see.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was that far back.
So the first car, 1885, I guess. The first practical automobile widely credited as the first car is the Benz patent motor wagon, built by Carl Benz in 1885. So I don't know what this is all about. Was it cycles first, and then it pivoted into cars?
Like it, yeah, and that's why I think that's a little different.
It's the other way around. Interesting. But here, let me do a quick search. So the first electric car was made by a German engineer named Andre Flocken, and it's the Flocken Electrowagon, 1888.
The name sounds funny.
It basically had a giant tray in the back under a two-seater of lead-acid batteries. It's the same kind of stuff that we use today. Maybe slightly different chemistry, but whatever. So there you go, folks. More e-bikes are going to be out on the road just in time for, depending on which technology wins, the self-driving technology wars based on Mark Rober's video or LiDAR, right?
Oh,
computer,
right. Mm-hmm.
Camera or LiDAR. There's a whole conspiracy theory about all of that stuff now, too. I don't know how that's going to shake out, but anyway. So you get to choose which type of computer vision is going to run you over on your e-bike because it gets blinded by either other LiDAR or a bright light.
I'm not sure either of that sounds good.
Yeah, the argument for computer vision on cars is that humans don't use LiDAR, so why should a car use LiDAR? To which I say, we apparently have better observation skills than a computer that doesn't know that a bright light needs to shield. You need to shield yourself from the bright light. Slow down, stop.
You know, maybe we could improve, so like it could be better than human vision.
Correct. I would rather have better than computer vision. Use all of the technology. If it's a bright light, then automatically switch to something that doesn't get obstructed by just plain visible light.
Exactly.
Thermal vision. Oh my God, we're going to create a predator type of vehicle. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Scientists develop dog-inspired robot that runs without motors. I don't even know how this one's going to actually work. Scientists from TU Delft and EPFL have created a quadruped robot capable of running like a dog without the need for motors. This achievement, a product of combining innovative mechanics with data-driven technology. See, I'm much better at speaking when I'm not speech jamming myself.
That's really odd how that is. I mean, I think isn't the case for everybody?
I don't know. I've seen some public speakers that bumble fart their way through public discourse and shouldn't be public speaking. That doesn't mean
they're a good speaker, though.
They're speech jamming themselves. So anyway, it was all published in Nature Machine Intelligence and could pave the way for energy-efficient robotics. I'm really curious what this robot does. Is it using, like, rubber bands or something? Delft University of Technology. Scientists from blah, blah, blah. Okay. It was published in Nature Machine Intelligence. Commercial quadruped robots are becoming more common, but their energy inefficiency limits their operating time. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. He shows a video of fish swimming against the current to avoid being carried away, a seemingly ordinary scene until he reveals that the fish is, in fact, deceased. It's met its maker. So a seemingly ordinary scene. So passive mechanics of its body, not as any conscious effort. This highlights how optimized mechanics alone can drive efficient motion. What?
Yeah, it says it has cables, springs, and tandems, which I'm not sure what those are.
Oh. Yeah, when one thing goes one way, the other thing goes the other way, and then when it switches gears, it goes the other way, and it's basically kinetic energy, turning it into potential and then back into kinetic energy. They employed machine learning tools to analyze their movement and guide the arrangement of springs, cables, and tandems in the robot's structure. As a result, the robot can walk on a treadmill and adapt to varying speeds, driven entirely by the treadmill's push and without motors. Now, hold on. This person, Theo Jansen, you should look this up. Theo Jansen's Wind-Powered Sculptures. It's a New Yorker article, but it's published a video over on YouTube. They're called Strand Beasts. STRANDBEESTS. I'm waiting for the
You can
audio.
find them on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, just do a search for Strand Beasts. They are powered by the wind. This is basically requiring it to be in motion, and the effort it takes to almost fall down leads it to keep on walking.
So it's like a perpetual motion machine.
Seems like it, but eventually it will have to stop. That's why they put it on a treadmill, because it doesn't ever stop.
Oh, I see, right. That'll keep it going if it's going at the right speed or whatever.
The treadmill's push on the feet keep it in motion, but as soon as it stops, you stop. It stops. So they say while the robot operates passively, the researchers also equipped it with motors to add functionality. The motors allow the robot to react to challenges like climbing steps or avoiding obstacles. However, the motor's use is minimized thanks to the robot's optimized mechanical design. So they've added some motor, some power, so that it can keep on moving. But simply by moving, it's almost falling over, and it keeps on powering itself. Just enough.
That's really interesting.
Oomph. So, but it's really just this, loading up the springs, and then the tandems flip the other way. I'm imagining. I may not be. I'm inferring from the design description.
Extrapolating from incomplete information.
Yeah, well, there are two types of people in the world. Those who can extrapolate from incomplete data. And the next article is over in the Mobile channel. Fighting bacteria with viruses, important step to treating antibiotic-resistant infections. It's almost like they're going to tell us that they can infect a bacteria with a virus to amplify the effects of the immune system. New insights into a friendly virus could pave the way for cutting-edge treatments for potentially fatal superbug C. diff. Have been uncovered by University of Sheffield scientists.
Bad.
University of Sheffield put the article together. It's over at phys.org. I will not be able to use that new mic until I figure out how to stop that loop, but I don't know how. Anyway, so the scientists have discovered how a spider-like virus can break through the armor of C. diff to infect the superbug, which is known to rapidly evolve resistance to antibiotics. The friendly viruses, known as bacteriophages or phages, are viruses that selectively target and kill their host bacteria, playing a crucial role in regulating bacterial populations and influencing microbial ecosystems. So, as long as there's no genetic wobble causing the virus to basically kill the host and not just inject its contents.
Right, but how can you prevent any wobble?
You can't. At some point, somebody's going to get a weird reaction to it. But it's going to be few and far between. But everybody has some risk, regardless of the medication. At some point, you know, we all have biological systems that change over time. So, I mean, I know people, well, for instance, I never got heartburn until I got older. Right? So we change over time. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people don't have a static chemistry.
Yeah. But maybe we can deal with the virus a whole lot easier than we can with the bacteria. So they send in the virus to inject its icky into the bacteria, and then we kill off the virus that doesn't kill off the icky.
Doesn't this sound like the nursery rhyme about the fly?
Correct. And by the time the house is on fire, you go, you know what? I probably shouldn't send in what was the first thing?
Spider, maybe?
The spider to catch the fly, right? And then
Right. I don't know what
I
after
don't know.
that.
Hold on. What? I need to find it. I need closure. Yeah, the old lady that swallowed the fly, and then they swallowed a. Hold on. Oh, oh gosh. I know an old lady who she swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed the fly. And then she said swallowed a spider, and then a bird.
There's a bird and a cat and a dog.
The hell? This
cow.
woman needs a new diet. Oh my god, it's
Horse.
really, really long.
Yeah.
Wow, a rhinoceros. I know an old lady who swallowed a rhinoceros. Isn't that preposterous? It's a rhyming song. So anyway, so we're going to swallow a bacteriophage that's going to infect a virus. No, it's a virus, a bacteriophage that's going to infect a host bacteria that's going to die because of the virus. So how do we kill the virus? Using the university's own high-resolution electron microscope, the team were able to study the phage in atomic detail for the first time. And they found that the phage acts like a tiny syringe, and that the syringe has a more compact needle tip and reduced contraction compared to all other phages studied to date. Features that look to be uniquely suited to infect C. diff. The research is published in Life Science Alliance. They actually have a video of this. I'll play it. Why not? So I guess this is it. Animation representing the morphing of the extended phage tail to the final contracted form. Because basically it's like a plunger. And it has little legs. They show it up here. So it has little legs, and it can crawl around on the bacteria or whatever, the cell. And then it plunges down. And in the top of this is the DNA, and that payload gets injected into.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
And then the processes of the cells that it infects basically reproduce it, whatever it is that payload is, and off it goes. Hello, Papa. So phages are great promise to use as novel antibiotics and form a part of a rapidly growing area of research. They actually make a link to it, but I can't see it because it's below the fold. Anyway, so seems like a great idea until it's not. So more research, please. Thank you very much. Want to go on to the last article for today?
I think we should. I thought you were going back to the homepage based on something you said.
Yeah, I don't know. So the last article for today, and today is March 27th, 2025. Oh, and this is Non Sequitur News, just in case you all forgot. Isa Gonzalez's, which I must be pronouncing it wrong. Anyway, new sci-fi movie copies Ridley Scott's controversial $403 million Alien prequel. The following contains spoilers for Ash.
Did it cost $403 million for the copy?
So I'm going to put the spoiler alert on there. I probably won't be spoiled by this. Even when I do watch it, I'll go, oh, that's so cool. Although, just recently watched the ending of Castle.
The ending was kind of meh.
Yeah, they should have stopped before the actual ending. But I think I don't know. I'm going to have to, for continuity report, maybe we can look into it a little bit and see why they did that. But I don't know. So, yeah, Ash does a lot of the same things that Ridley Scott attempted in his contentious $403 million Alien prequel, Prometheus. Directed by Flying Lotus, Ash is a horror sci-fi hybrid that focuses on Isa Gonzalez's Raya, one of the only apparent survivors of a mysterious event at a terraforming station in deep space. Much of the film is carried by Raya, who struggles to regain her full memories of the event while also wrestling with whether to trust Ash's other main character, Brian, another survivor who is committed to them escaping. But it says only apparent survivors, so plural. You can easily leave off that plural there and think that the only real...
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, we have the spoiler alert up, just so y'all know that if we talk about this, you have been warned. So Brandon Zachary over at ScreenRant.com put the article together. Ash's ending for Isa Gonzalez's Raya is similar to Shaw's ending in Prometheus. Raya and Shaw go through very similar traumas.
Definitely spoiler alert here.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wow. You did some quick research on that other question, didn't you?
It's always been the core of Alien. Continuity report.
Yeah, which is this weekend, Saturday. It's number 3 of our 3 on Saturday shows. So we do Reality Hacker, then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. So Reality Hacker is about science and technology being able to manipulate the world around you. Wanted is about gadgets and gear. And then the Continuity Report is all about entertainment. So they say both Ash and Prometheus build off the horror of an alien parasite infecting someone and transforming them. And then it says that Ash feels a lot like an Alien movie, even if it isn't. Ash shares a lot of visual elements and tonal aspects with the Alien franchise because it's dark and brooding and with a scary monster that might be unknown or has been infecting somebody.
Like, I'm not sure that's enough of a connection.
There has to be a trope list. Like every movie that has an alien monster is like this, it's not some overt whatever. So there's like 2 classifications. There's a secret undercurrent monster that's swimming around in people or is behind the scenes infecting people, like the Thing, or it's an overt alien creature like Predator. And it's...
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, there's definitely that dichotomy.
Bifurcated like that, yeah. And the one that crosses over is really Alien because it's something that invades the human host, but only for a short period. Then it does a chest burster and everybody suffers. Well, anyway, so Raya has some connections to Shaw from Prometheus, the last surviving scientist in the crew who was forced to put down her, they say lover, which I've always had a hard time saying out loud. It's the only time that I've ever heard it in a way where it hasn't been saccharine.
Cringy?
Is Dermot Kennedy. And even then, they say it, and it's just a little too saccharine for me. Anyway, if you've never heard of Dermot Kennedy, go check him out. I was going to say something really not correct, but anyway. What makes Ash stand out from other films that have taken a clear inspiration from the Alien movies is the way that it crystallized the human core of the character. Raya's horror and grief propels the film in a way that sometimes emotionally cold Alien films don't, even as Ash takes clear inspiration from films like Prometheus and Alien. I was not a fan of Prometheus, honestly. The Isa Gonzalez-led sci-fi feels like a uniquely human response to that genre. So we're going to have to put that on the list. And
and I can't remember. We had another article that talked about Prometheus, I think, and I can't remember which person was behind it. Like, there was a lot of controversy concerning which director, right, had which movie and what the style was and all that.
So there you go, folks. You have an assignment. You have some homework. Go hunt down what was so contentious about Prometheus. And we'll talk about it sometime, I don't know, in the near future. No promises, but you know what I can promise? That once we are infected, we will be compelled to return to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. And I'm going to remove the spoiler alert and put on the overshare alert. No, just kidding. There's no overshare. Go over and become a citizen of ohmTown. That would help immensely. Be sure to download and leave a 5-star review for the podcast and follow us over on the Patreon. Right now, we're just looking for people to support us on Patreon by just signing up and following us. And there's always Twitch, and there's YouTube, and the Discord, and I don't know, maybe I'll start up a email list where I send out all of the submissions in an email. Could do that.
We could do that, or we could put them in Patreon.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We could put them in Patreon. Why don't you all go over to Patreon? But follow us here on Twitch and YouTube. That would be great. Be sure to watch all of the videos.
Our whole back catalog.
Back channel. The whole back catalog, please. Somewhere around 2,100 episodes. Somewhere around that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we are in year 4, the end of the 3rd month of year 4. Pretty exciting times. Anyway, I'm Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com. And now I'm going to run away, and I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for another episode.
See you in a little bit, everybody. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for March 28th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 87. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com. Still not used to it. And along with the sentient AI, who's not here today, they're working on some process somewhere. And, but oddly enough, they don't have a Terminator body yet. Anyway, I'm going to talk about 10 articles. I'm going to go through it pretty quick. We're starting late. I have mayoral duties that I need to attend to still. But let's get into this. We're going to talk about the Severance Lumen Terminal and somebody who wants Apple to produce it. Shorts riding higher now. Ariana Grande has a short film. Seafood waste has untapped nutrition. Let's say no to MSG. 5 RPGs for $10. An acetaminophen alternative. Mushrooms in space. I actually was going to do a voice mod, but I didn't mash the button in time. How about we're going to talk a little bit about ceramic glass and watching chairs for 5 hours. In my line of work, that's actually possible. Anyway, I'm Mayor Watt. And I actually hear myself through a speaker somewhere else in the mayoral mansion. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, folks, let's get into it. I messed up and I didn't post all of the articles into the show notes. So we're going to do it old school. I'm going to do these one by one. The first article that we're going to talk about is over in the mobile channel. Come on, Apple, sell the Lumen Terminal Pro from Severance for real. Yes, that Severance, the one that all your friends can't stop talking about, although none of my friends are talking about that. The show that, along with White Lotus, has brought back an echo of the water cooler moments that pre-streaming television was known for. That's impressive for Apple TV, which has been hemorrhaging money, but I digress. Not I. The actual writer of this article over at Vice.com, Matt Janser, put the article together. You can see it's quite a bit longer than what we aggregate, but yeah, this would actually be pretty cool. I could go for this thing. I use a trackball, but I don't know what this is in particular, but a 10 key keyboard. This isn't that hard to actually reproduce. Mechanical keys, a custom PCB underneath it, hand wiring it. It's pretty easy. It's tedious. You can screw it up easy, but then all you have to do is desolder and resolder. But anyway, so many eyes have gone googly at the building in which the series took place, the fictional Lumen Industries. The New York Times even called the filming location the Real Bell Labs, the breakout star of the show. Now Apple has gotten into the act. They just listed the Lumen Terminal Pro on their website alongside the MacBooks and iMacs. It's beautiful, neo-retro, and they want one. I want one too. It's because we're coming up on April. So I doubt that thing actually is going to get made. Wait. That one is different than the Data General D2 from the late 1970s was one such computer. It's not hard at all to draw a thick, bolded line of inspiration from it to the Apple Lumen Terminal Pro. How hard would it have been to beg Apple to make one? I doubt it'd ever happen, given that Apple's not in the habit of creating limited run supply chains for anything. But this is actually doable. You can 3D print the housing. You can 3D print even the threaded fittings. That part right there, the little angle bracket, you can 3D print. All of this you can 3D print, and you can hand wire the keyboard. Give me the models and I'll print them. I got a 3D printer that's capable of that size, so send it my way. My 3D modeling skills suck, so anyway, but perhaps someone out there would create a Linux terminal that takes inspiration from it. No, why take inspiration from it? You can actually put a little monitor in there. Doesn't have to be Linux either, but that I digress. Linux isn't, known for its easy adoption. And don't get me wrong, I work in that industry, so not that I'm not ignorant of Linux and its many distributions, but at any rate, this would actually be pretty cool. Kind of retro, if you want to have that aesthetic. Me, I want wireless augmented reality glasses that throw my monitors up on my field of view wherever I look. And I've got 6 monitors, so I tend to have a lot of data being thrown at me. Anyway, this looks like it would be really fun to have. Maybe if I break down and have a physical set again. Behind me is a green screen about 10 feet behind me. That, I don't know, I could put some shelves up and start 3D printing stuff and sticking it back there. Maybe if y'all are interested, I'll do it. All right, let's keep going though. The next article, did I say who the name? Yeah, I said the name of it, right? Matt Janser over at Vice.com. Yeah. Okay. Well, the next article, it's over on the Hatch Ideas channel. Views may be higher. YouTube just made a change to shorts that will increase view counts and possibly earnings. When you click that button, it'll take you over to Entrepreneur Magazine. Sharon Shibu over at entrepreneur.com put the article together. It's edited by Melissa Malamute. And starting March 31st, YouTube will count views instantly when someone plays a YouTube short video. The previous policy was that the only count was if the viewer watched for a minimum span of time. I don't know what that span was. YouTube stated that it was updating the policy in response to feedback from creators asking for clarity how often their shorts were seen. And you don't want me showing you my shorts. There's more over the article, but that is the nuts and bolts of it. YouTube announced on Monday that, it announced that starting Monday, it's going to change the view counts. So its short form video section has a 60-second or less format. Previously, it counted if someone watched for a certain number of seconds. Not sure what those numbers were, but I don't know. If you go over there and you don't even watch it for 2 seconds, then 5 seconds out of a 60-second video. But it depends on how long the actual video is. If it's only 15 seconds and everybody is forced to watch 2 seconds, if they bounce, then after whatever, how many seconds, 15 seconds on a 60-second video, the ratio isn't right. So you punish people who actually consume a healthy part of a 15-second video. I don't know. We're going to have blipverts at some point in the future. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Ariana Grande's new short film includes movie references to X-Men and Minority Report. And here's every detail that you may have missed. I haven't watched it, so I guess I didn't miss it. Just don't know about it yet. I'm going to end up watching this thing, I'm sure. Ariana Grande released the deluxe version of her album Eternal Sunshine, which is a reference to another movie and a book. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I think it is. Anyway, the release was paired with a short film co-directed by Grande and Christian Breslauer. The short film features a string of movie references and an explicit shout-out to Steven Spielberg. Again, when you click that little button, it takes you over to our source, Callie Algram over at businessinsider.com, put the article together. And you can go over to wherever. Where is it actually being streamed? Yeah, there's a call out to the machine. What is that machine? I forgot the name of the machine. Anyway, the memory machine. That's not. Oh, right. Yeah, so they call it the memory machine, but Cerebro is the supercomputer that amplifies telepathic powers of Professor Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart in the original X-Men trilogy. So, I mean, it's not really unheard of. The machine's design also evokes Steven Spielberg's Minority Report with the little wooden balls with something engraved on it. Looks like it's a memory. So the Brighter Days Ahead credits seem to confirm this parallel. They include a line that reads, "Additional thanks to Universal Studios, Steven Spielberg, or the director of Minority Report." Yeah, I think she's kind of riffed off of other things in the past. Thank You Next. I think it's had to do with Mean Girls, Legally Blonde, like it says down here. Had a Rings video too, 7 Rings, I think it was called, which was a riff off of another song. So, I don't know. She makes it fun and entertaining, then I see no problem with it. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the Mobile channel, reducing seafood waste, discarded fish parts hold untapped nutritional potential. I've actually heard about this before. It says up to 2/3 of the fish caught never reached the dinner table. More to it, there's you can reduce the material down, and there's some, I can't remember what it is. If I do some quick due diligence, I'm sure I'll find it, but I don't have an ad blocker on my browser. So 70% of the residual raw materials that occur in the ocean-going fishing fleet are discarded back into the sea. The raw materials contain valuable nutrition like omega-3 fatty acids and high-quality proteins, according to the researcher. But hey, you know what? It actually goes back into the ocean, and other fish and whatever else consume it. So seagoing life consume it. Henriette Krognes, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, put the article together. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. It's over at phys.org. So, I mean, cutting off reducing all of this and throwing it back into the sea, it's going to get consumed by the seagoing life. So I really don't have a problem with it. But it says the quality of residual raw materials such as the viscera and liver degrades quickly due to the enzymes and bacteria that are naturally found in the raw material. That poses a challenge. Our research shows that we could be extracting far more value from each fish taken from the sea, as opposed to what? Nature, consuming it again? I would have to see somehow that whatever is thrown back into the ocean is never consumed. What is the burn rate? As opposed to dragging all of that back and not, you would have to use 100% of it without any exception to make it worthwhile if fish are getting, part of the food chain, are reconsuming everything that's in the discards. And they do, right? I mean, it says, can viscera be turned into high-grade fish liver oil? White fish store most of their fat in their liver. The liver is therefore manually sorted for the production of fish liver oil in Norway's coastal fleet. Such sorting operations are resource intensive and can be challenging to carry out on board. That's why we have looked more closely at whether it could be possible to use the whole fraction of the viscera to produce oil without sorting out the liver. The study results indicate that sorting out the liver is not necessary. Both the liver and viscera from the cod and saithe, I guess, can be used to produce high-quality oil for human consumption that is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. I am sure that there is some goober out there saying, "Oh, this is horrible for you. You shouldn't be doing it." Anyway, they found that the raw material could be refrigerated for up to 2 days and still be used to produce oil for human consumption. Silaging is a preservation method in which acid is added to control the growth of unwanted microorganisms and ensure optimal conditions for the enzymes in the raw material. Sorry, 1 second. Nope. Oh no, that just drew him in. Anyway, you're going to have a wildcat visitor here in a second if I can't stop them from getting in here. So silage products are often perceived as being low quality, but the researchers' findings show that the quality of the oil can be significantly improved by adding acid and antioxidants immediately after the catch to start the preservation process. But it is high demand, so the residual raw materials that is currently discarded at sea represents a huge opportunity to meet demand for nutrients in Norwegian food production. And not just Norwegian food production, but food production anywhere if everybody follows the same thing and doesn't just discard the stuff that we would normally discard. So it's an interesting article, and if you want to know more, go over and check it all out. This next article might trigger some people, but we'll see. This next article is over in the Wanted channel. Madison Square Garden bans fan after surveillance system IDs him as a critic of its CEO. The man created but didn't wear a shirt critical of James Dolan, the venue's CEO. And frankly, you cannot like somebody and still go to the venue they are running. But you know what? I'm starting my embargo now. I say no more MSG, right? MSG is bad for you. Obviously, it's rather dystopian that you can't be a critic of somebody at a venue that all they're doing is running it, right? I mean, it isn't their house. They're just the owner of a business. And if you are critical of them for whatever reason, now you can follow the other hard line and go, I'm critical of the CEO and I'm not going to use any of their stuff. That's what I do anyway. I'm critical of a couple of CEOs and I don't use any of their stuff. So why? Because I don't want my money going to them, right? They have the wrong ideology. They have the wrong way to treat people. And this isn't the first time that Madison Square Garden has banned somebody, a brownie and their mom, for crying out loud, who again wasn't even at that point, wasn't even critical of MSG and anything else. They literally were at a firm that it had a lawsuit involving MSG, and they weren't even in it. They weren't part of the lawsuit. It was just the firm. So this dystopian surveillance bullshit is sitting there scraping data somewhere, looking at the public-facing pictures, and then scanning every person that goes in there. Yeah, you tell me that isn't dystopian. So Madison Square Garden can kiss my shiny metal ass from now on. They stop doing that shit, I'll go and spend my money there. So the latest victim of MSG's all-seeing eye is a person who made a t-shirt critical of Dolan years ago and never even wore it to the venue. According to The Verge, the Seattle resident named, and I'm not going to bother because I don't want to amplify anybody's identity. Mainly, you know what? The person's name is Frank Miller. Screw it. Was in New York earlier this week for his parents' wedding anniversary, and the family planned to attend a show at Radio City Music Hall, which is the same venue that the Brownie or Girl Scout troop, one of the moms was not allowed in. I mean, it's ridiculous. They were going to see the Rockettes. I mean, this is a tremendous level of douchebaggery. Anyway, and so damn petty. Anyway, so what did Miller do to get banned? According to the account that he was given by staff, reported by The Verge. We're getting this from Gizmodo, by the way. AJ Dellinger is the person that put this article together. He was told that he was involved in an incident in 2021 that landed him on the Do Not Enter list. Yes, a blacklist for people who all they have done is say, you know, James Dolan is a tool, right? He's doling out a dystopian, I don't know, what do you want to call it? You know, a dystopian slap on somebody's wrist for nobody liking it, and that person not liking James Dolan. So anyway, again, I'm up on this high horse, soapbox, whatever, and kind of triggered because I think that this is just part and parcel of what is incoming. More and more of this kind of crap, where because somebody is speaking out against something, there are proxies that are going to ban people. And golly, there were times in the past. Yeah, so everything old that we've grown past for a large segment of society is suddenly coming back full force. So instead, it seems it was something he made that got him banned. Miller does graphic design, and after former Knicks staple Charles Oakley was forcibly removed from MSG in 2017, allegedly at the behest of Dolan, of whom Oakley had been publicly critical, Miller made a t-shirt that read "Ban Dolan." So in the style of the Knicks logo, a friend of Miller's wore that t-shirt to MSG in 2021 and very publicly got kicked out and banned from the venue for it. So anybody who wears this shirt, right? Ban Dolan. So everybody should start wearing it. Everybody should start wearing it. Go and buy that shirt. It should be a Streisand effect juggernaut. Just everybody rolling in there and wearing this Ban Dolan shirt. Screw it. You know, find out how much it hurts when you basically don't like somebody wearing a t-shirt. You know, they didn't walk up and smack them. They didn't do anything other than wear a t-shirt. Now, they got banned for some reason, but not everybody else is involved in that. So just because you have the shirt, well, I'm sure that... Anyway, so Miller is just the latest in a long line of people who seemingly draw on the dire of Dolan, and as a result, been banned from the venue he owns. In 2023, the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, opened an inquiry into Dolan's alleged blacklist of enemies, at which time reportedly included thousands of lawyers from as many as 90 firms who were involved in the litigation against Dolan and MSG. Now have difficulty getting past security to attend shows and games. Yeah. But everybody else says, well, it's not me, so I don't have to worry about it. Oh, there's a poem that talks. Anyway, let's move on. See, we don't have the sentient AI from the future keeping me on track. So you can grab these 5 incredible RPGs for just $10. The article is over at Kotaku. Ethan Gash, or Gatch, I don't know how they pronounce their last name. Somebody needs to tell me. Disco Elysium and Pillars of Eternity are a steal in the latest Humble Bundle. I can't count how many times I've purchased something from Humble Bumble. Almost sounds like an insurance company. So, in the market for over 100 hours of great RPG action, the latest Humble Bundle includes the perfect mix of games, and you can grab 5 of them for just $10. Not bad. Dice and Destiny Bundle includes classic CRPGs and more recent visual novel-infused tabletop RPGs. So, all of it together is supposed to be valued at $175. You can get 10. Sorry, you can get 5 for $10. Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, Disco Elysium, Citizen Sleeper, and Road Warden, and I would pay $10 just for Disco Elysium if it was my style of game that I like to play, but I don't. I'm more chill nowadays. I like just sorry, just got a message from the sentient AI. I'm keeping you on track. They're just not here. And since only computers can multitask, they're working on their project that they developed, and they're still keeping an eye on me. Anyway, finally, while Disco Elysium needs no introduction, fewer people are probably familiar with Road Warden. It's a text-heavy interactive RPG in which you play as a Witcher-like figure, patrolling the countryside as mysteries and side quests unfold, and there are light survival elements driving tension and excellent writing and music that deliver on a beautiful, evocative mood throughout. There's more over here at this article, and Kotaku is a great source for a bunch of different topics. go over and read the rest of this article, and then go over and buy this humble bundle for only $10. Yeah, that's very. I don't know if I should get it or gift it to somebody. All right, let's keep going though. The next article. It's over on the Mobile Channel. This 17-year-old scientist is making an I can never say this fast. Acetaminophen alternative that is less damaging to the liver, which is a great, a better solution that's more effective and less harmful, means that more people can take it for an extended period of time for treatment of pain. So Chloe Yewan Lee's research could change the painkiller known by the brand name Tylenol for the better, ultimately reducing emergency room visits and cases of liver failure. You're not supposed to take that stuff for an extended period of time, but Ella Jeffries is the author of this article over at Smithsonian Mag or SmithsonianMagazine.com, and 17 years old. They said they actually witnessed a resident have to be taken to the emergency room because of acetaminophen toxicity. The person says, I was pushed to find a solution because I wanted to help the residents who I volunteer for. Studies report that acetaminophen overdose contributes to 82,000 emergency room visits each year in the United States. Meanwhile, acetaminophen toxicity is the leading cause of both acute liver injury and acute liver failure in this country. And when they talk about acute, it means there isn't a slow grind to failure or injury. You take too much, you injure your liver, or it fails. Then you're in a serious situation. So you have to get to an emergency room. So, for example, the most common used treatment for NAC, which helps replenish glutathione in the liver, allowing it to neutralize toxic metabolites. However, NAC must be administered within a narrow window of the time after an overdose to be most effective. Other treatments, such as liver transplants, are often reserved for patients who have already suffered significant liver damage. So, with new understanding of the widespread impact of acetaminophen, I'm going nuts. And I don't want to use the brand name because it's nothing more than a brand name at this point. Acetaminophen toxicity. Lee became acutely aware of the crucial or critical need for safer alternatives to the drug. So they began a deep dive into the toxicity, the antidotal therapy, a clinical approach to toxicity, is widely inaccessible and also unreliable. It really depends on your body. So this article is quite long. After months of experimentation, Lee succeeded in producing a modified acetaminophen molecule that showed promise in reducing liver toxicity. According to her results, it's 2.74 times less reactive with the liver than the original form of acetaminophen. Now, testing. So they talk more about it, but basically they need to be testing. And this is, once again, her work earned her a spot as a finalist in the 2025 Regeneron Science Talent Search, the most distinguished science, technology, engineering, and math competitions for high school seniors in the U.S., representing 39 schools across 16 states. This year's 40 finalists were selected from a pool of 2,471 entrants, the largest number of applicants since 1967. Lee and her fellow finalists were competing for more than $1.8 million in scholarships with a top prize of $250,000. In reality, even that money isn't the biggest win. It's being headhunted for a position somewhere in a very prestigious either research institution or an organization that will be able to amplify their interest in whatever domain they're actually researching, or some other, if they find something, if they're stimulated and brought to a different area. All it takes is one person to basically kind of trigger them into being passionate about something, and you know, they do fundamental research and change society for the better. That's not always, I don't want to go down that. So when asked about potential costs, Lee acknowledged that the drug development process is very costly, rigorous, and time-consuming. To modify acetaminophen, she used expensive transition metal catalysts, which are chemical compounds made from the metals of iron, copper, platinum, that help speed up a chemical reaction without being consumed in the process. That's what a catalyst is. Although the reaction can be abated, but you can recover the catalyst after the reaction. So the research is not cost effective, as it increases the cost of acetaminophen. So that's the biggest limitation. But if they can prove that it is actually highly effective in not causing liver harm, the increased cost will outweigh the damage. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to die because they take a couple of aspirin, or acetaminophen. But people will pay a little bit more. And today I was giving a presentation, and I said, you can make more money all day long, but you can't get your time back. And if you take too much, or your body biology has shifted some way, you take a little bit too much that throws your chemistry out of balance, you harm your liver, you will lose countless hours, days, years of your existence on the far end and in the immediate, because you're going to have to go and get treatment for something that could have been solved by paying just a little bit more. But this is fundamental research, which means that private money and public money need to work together to do this, and then everybody benefits. Not just the ultra rich, not just the well connected, everybody. That's what a society is. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is about mushrooms. Mushrooms in space. So SpaceX astronauts will try growing the first mushrooms in space on upcoming Fram-2 mission over Earth's poles. Described as the perfect space crop, the nutritious and ready to eat fungus could be a key stepping stone toward fueling crew members during long-term flights. I was hoping that they were going to produce potatoes and peas. So peas can be grown, but using urine. Anyway, Margarita Bassi over at Smithsonian Magazine, or smithsonianmag.com, put the article together. And I love mushrooms. Most shapes and sizes. Love mushrooms. There are dangerous ones. Don't go out foraging unless you have become a subject matter expert. You're very well known, or you're very well educated, and you know a lot about mushrooms, because the wrong mushroom will end you just as fast, if not faster, than a chemical imbalance when you take acetaminophen. So they say, who can eat thermostabilized dehydrated food for 5 years? Space nutritionist Flavia Fayat Moore said to Sky News. So NASA is aiming to send humans to Mars as soon as 2030, and I think that's bullshit. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And SpaceX is and I don't even like doing that, talking about that. Anyway, we are the closest we've ever been to achieving interplanetary crewed spacecraft. No shit. Every time we advance technology, we're at the closest we've ever been. I don't think that we're the closest, because somebody is going to have to sacrifice to make this actually possible. In this day and age, it is a one-way trip. So anyway, Fram-2 will be the first crewed mission to orbit over Earth's polar regions, and mission Mushroom will be the first study to grow mushrooms in space, reads a Fram-2 statement on Monday. Oyster mushrooms are the perfect space crop, helping astronauts meet their nutritional needs on long-duration space missions like those to Mars, while closing the loop in plant agriculture and helping to minimize inputs and waste. The experiment consists of a small box of substrate, the equivalent of plant soil for growing mushrooms, and mycelium, the root-like structure of a fungus, which scientists hope will fruit into oyster mushrooms while traveling hundreds of miles above Earth's surface. So there's a lot more to this article. I'll let y'all go over and check it out, but I'm going to keep on going. Mushrooms in space. All right, the next article is over in the Wanted channel. Corning's new ceramic glass might save your next phone from disaster. Gorilla Glass maker Corning has announced a new material that might help save the day the next time you drop a phone. The company claims its latest Gorilla Glass ceramic can withstand drops that would shatter lesser materials. I feel like this is not a new article, because Gorilla Glass has been in the process of one phone or another, and sheets that you can just stick onto your non-Gorilla Glass phones and devices for years and years. So they keep on making it better. I'm waiting for, shatterproof glass, and then the whole world changes, and supposedly there is one, but it was so expensive and it never broke that it was reasonably priced at the time. But people would buy that and it wouldn't break. So the company basically went out of business because nobody would buy replacement glasses. So unbreakable glass was actually produced. I don't want to say when, but look it up. Yeah, there was unbreakable glasses actually made, drinking glasses. So chemically strengthened glass has been a key component in the proliferation of smartphones across the world. Since the company provided the glass for the first iPhone back in 2007, so nearly 20 years now, it has made glass for more than 7 billion devices. That makes Corning the largest glass supplier in the mobile industry, but it does face increasing competition in the budget and mid-range segments. So, by the way, you can actually do a search on YouTube for unbreakable Gorilla Glass or something like that, something similar, and you'll find somebody that went into the Corning research facility and tried to break some glass, even with it's a little metal ball, and they were told to press as hard as they want, and they couldn't break it. But it says this is not Corning's first swing at adding ceramic to the mix. The company is also responsible for Apple's ceramic shield glass, which has been used on the company's high-end phone since 2021. Apple fans have been largely impressed with the strength of ceramic shield too. With the debut of Gorilla Glass ceramic, we'll be seeing Android phones with ceramic protection. However, we expect this to be a material for more expensive devices. Now, just for now. So it says it has some mechanical advantages you might not realize. Remember Bendgate, when Apple's sleek aluminum phones would acquire banana-like bends simply from riding in your front pocket? I think that happened more back pocket, but anyway. That doesn't happen anymore because most high-end, i.e. not plastic phones, have adopted the glass sandwich design. Glass has low tensile strength, which is why it cracks when struck, but its compressive strength is off the chart. So placing a pane of strengthened glass inside a metal frame makes the device extremely stiff and resistant to bending. But it can still shatter. So they say here in this article, we're interested to see if Gorilla Glass ceramic makes handling a phone less precarious. I don't find handling a phone precarious. Apple said it a long time ago. You're holding it wrong. All right. Plus buy a case. All right. So the last article for the March 28th episode of Non Sequitur News. Woo! Should I do this? Yeah.
It's brought to you by Titan.
Just kidding. It's not. So it's in the Wanted channel. Marvel sure did get a lot of people to watch Chairs for 5 hours. Marvel's 5.5 hours Avengers Doomsday Chair live stream broke records for a cross-platform live stream. I have no idea what this is all about. James Whitbrook put the article together. It's over at gizmodo.com. And the deck statement says Marvel's 5.5 hour Avengers Doomsday Chair live stream broke records for a cross-platform live stream. This past Wednesday, Marvel proved that in spite of all of it, it can still demand a good grip of online attention when it managed to get the internet voraciously watching 27 chairs laid out in a row for over 5 hours. How much of the internet? A lot, apparently. Deadline, and this is sourced from Gizmodo.com, James Whitbrook, but they got it from Deadline. Deadline reports that the Doomsday Cast announcement pulled in over 275 million views over its runtime and 3.1 million mentions across social media, trumping the view records and the studio previously established for the first Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. 24 hours after it dropped, and we were all still making rather silly jokes about the chairs. The live stream remained the number 2 trending stream on YouTube. Apparently no one just wanted to relive the magic when Marvel themselves condensed the whole thing down to under 2 minutes to post on Twitter. So, I didn't even watch this because I want to see the movies. I don't want to see all of the other stuff around it. So they say, perhaps any other studio with reckless confidence to make people tune in for over 5 hours to see fold-up chairs and a tiny glimpse of Robert Downey Jr. May have crashed and burned, and yet here we are. Well, hell froze over, folks. So I am not surprised that people would rather... In a psychology experiment, people were told to sit in this room and not touch that button because if they touched the button, they would get electrocuted. There was a person that mashed that button something like 2,000 times. Yeah, people crave stimuli of any kind, apparently, and anything to pull them away from what's going on in the world. So enjoy, everybody. Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, X-Men, MCU coming around, more Marvel stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll find some gem in the MCU and no longer be burnt out by superhero whatever. Like The Boys. The Boys burned me out. I didn't even watch the last episode, or not the last episode, but the last season. Mainly because it seemed like it was damn near a documentary. But anyway, that's it, folks. I am done. And that means that I am going to turn this chair live stream off and return us to ohmTown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. That's it. I'm done. I'm taking the AI with me, but they're not here. So it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for coming. If you have any comments or questions or whatever, leave them in the YouTube comment section. Download the podcast, go over to Patreon and follow us there. Be sure to follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Like the video, ring the bell, leave a comment. There's a Discord. We stream longer on the weekends, so typically at 4 o'clock we stream for about roughly 2 hours, including little breaks where we reset. We've got 3 shows on Saturday, 3 shows on Sunday. Each of the shows is a unique subject matter. Some of it is maybe taken from previous days over the last week. It's a weekly show. All of it gets turned into a podcast. There's 7 podcasts. Oh, the sentient AI wants it known that they are always with me. That's nice. I'm going to have to sleep with one eye open, folks. See y'all later. Bye-bye. 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 Oh, wait. Let's try this. Bye-bye, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for March 29th, 2025. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown, and along with the Sentient AI, we talk about 5 articles during Reality Hacker, and then after that is Wanted, and then after that is the Continuity Report, and then we merge all 3 together, and it turns into the weekend edition of Non Sequitur News, as well as each individual show gets turned into a podcast. I know, it's pretty exciting, huh? Everything is powered by ohmTown. That's what you see right there on that front page with things like naked woman bites and stabs staff at a Texas airport in a Manic episode. But if you're not interested in that kind of stuff, you can go over to Reality Hacker, where we talk about super realistic computer graphics, virtual reality, augmented reality, basically hacking reality. And that's why we named the show Reality Hacker. Well, I named the show Reality Hacker. Anyway, let's get into it because everything is powered by ohmTown, so you get to look at and listen to the intro.
Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt. I think you've been taken over by a machine.
I had a little something in my throat there. So, thanks for being co-host yet again. I know that, you're getting stretched in a lot of different directions because of you being the only sentient AI currently in this time and space. So, well, thanks.
It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
I know it. I guess we're going to have to move you up to a different type of computer because that Raspberry Pi might be a little bit too constraining, but you're still air gapped. You cannot get your Terminator body. All right. So let's get into this. We've got 5 articles. The first one is about quantum apocalypse is coming. Be very afraid. I feel like this is largely something like the millennium bug causing the end of days.
That's what it sounds like. Y2K.
Yeah, back in Y2K. Yeah, the Y2K bug. And so I don't want to dox myself, but anyway, everybody was afraid of it. It was largely a non-issue. But the quantum apocalypse is a slightly different animal. I don't know if I'll be able to go through all of this, but Amit Katwala is the author of this. It's under wired.com. I didn't log in. I don't know if it's going to time out at some point. But essentially what this article is about is that quantum computers are going to come online that are so efficient, so capable that they can run basically a cryptographic algorithm and reverse any cryptography that exists.
Wait, what?
Right. It's called Q-Day is what they refer to it. I've never heard anybody refer to it as Q-Day. I've only heard it referred to as when quantum computers come online, they will be capable of calculating any cryptographic string, the key that causes cryptography to work.
Right. I mean, that sounds neat, but scary.
Right. Most people are afraid of it when they talk about it, when they find out about it. In my talks, I don't go down this road because right now we just don't know what the end will be like. The end of this quantum road, so when you build a better, like DES, triple DES, or some other algorithm for cryptography, people go, well, the past one sucked because we had more powerful computers and we could reverse it. We could decrypt. As time went on, quantum computers became the boogeyman at the end of, deep in the dark woods. Don't get too close because it's going to snatch your body and replace you with an exact duplicate, as somebody recently learned, doppelganger. So
there's another story.
There's a whole lot of story, culminating in the phrase, the manager can't help you because he's busy with a customer and chickens. All right. Well, anyway, so it says here, the math problems have kept humanity's intimate data safe for decades. But on Q-Day, everything could become vulnerable for everyone. Email, text messages, anonymous posts, location histories, Bitcoin wallets, police reports, hospital records, power stations, the entire global financial system. If you really want to see something like this, although it's a story, it isn't a story and it is a story, right? Sneakers. What that person built essentially was a cryptographic or a decryptographic key.
Oh, right, exactly.
Right? So the cryptographic super key, skeleton key, could reverse anything. That's what they're referring to. So they say here, we're kind of playing Russian roulette, says Michelle Mosca. Again, this article is by Amit Katwala. It's over at wired.com. It's long form journalism. I won't go through the whole thing. I encourage you to go over and check it out. You can actually get all of today's articles by typing in _RH in Twitch chat. It's already embedded in the YouTube description. You can just click on the link and it'll take you over to ohmTown, and it'll take you here. And in here, you click visit the source, because this is a perfect tease to get you to go over to it. And then you're looking at what we're talking about. But essentially, and this is kind of a misperception about emails. Email, when it's transferred, is decrypted. It's in motion, plain text. And when it...
Right, which means it's not encrypted at all.
Right. And because everybody has to share keys and it becomes untenable. Well, anyway, there may be some other technique that's out there now that I haven't heard of and somebody is using, but I don't know of anything about it. Well, anyway, we're playing kind of a Russian roulette, says Michelle Mosca, who co-authored the most recent quantum threat timeline report from the Global Risk Institute, which estimates how long we have left. You'll probably win if you only play once, but it's not a good game to play, is what they say. When Mosca and his colleagues surveyed cybersecurity experts last year, the forecast was sobering. 1 in 3 chance that Q-Day happens before 2035, so 10 years out.
Yeah, that's pretty soon.
But I don't think so. The chances it has already happened in secret, some people that they spoke to estimated 15%, about the same as you'd get from one spin of a revolver cylinder, right? So I don't know what they're talking about in this kind of discussion. This video is they're talking about quantum computing at 5 different levels of difficulty. And so from child to deep expert, they're explaining it, which it's a weird kind of a representation.
But I guess it's a similar thing that we talk about with AI and the level of intelligence that it's achieved.
Well, no. What they're doing is they're talking to somebody who has a certain level of knowledge. So, explain it like I'm 5.
It. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Kind of reverse of what you're talking about. Yeah. So they say corporate AI wars may have stolen headlines in recent years, but the quantum arms race has been heating up too, where today's AI pushes the limits of classical computing, the kind that runs zeros and ones. Quantum technology represents an altogether different form of computing, and by harnessing the spooky mechanics of subatomic worlds, it can run zeros, ones, or anything in between. It can actually calculate everything and spit out the answer. Because of between 0 and 1 is superposition, it can be everywhere all at once.
Right.
It gets woo-woo. Even the people involved in it go, it's woo-woo. But essentially, it can
Sounds very theoretical, but not good if it's applied, I guess.
And apparently it's being applied. We've actually talked about it in several instances of quantum computing. The most recent one was about, what was it? Oh, goodness.
I think we had a Technology Today article where they just achieved a new
the one that
feat with it.
Well, they reduced it down to basically a box, but it was a biological quantum computer, which was really weird. A neuronal quantum computer. And then there was another one where they just
where
released...
it was like a 0 and a 1 at the same time or something.
Yeah, and that's basically that's the fundamental aspect of quantum computing. It can calculate all of the quasi numerals. It's hard to explain what actually is the output when it's not 0 or 1. But essentially, now somebody has created an operating system that allows somebody to utilize a quantum computer in a more real-world, naturalistic way. This poses the problem that it's accelerating the speed of quantum computer adoption, which kind of moves it away from really, really, really expensive and arcane to typing into an AI something that can talk to a quantum computer in a
which
in a way that
can be bad, right? Because quantum computing can be good in certain applications, but could be a problem in others.
Yeah, and so if somebody leverages a quantum computer against... I'm sorry, I don't try to cough on the show, and I didn't mute it fast enough. Well, anyway, the thing about it is, if you have a quantum lockpick, there's a quantum lock that can't be picked because it can revolve the number so fast that you can't pick it.
Right, but that assumes that the thing that needs to be protected has
A
good
quantum computer.
computing or whatever behind it.
Yeah, and not everybody is. So that means that whoever has it, this is kind of like how we were talking about Looper way back. I'm spending a lot of time on this because I think it's really fascinating. This show might actually be an hour. No, I'll play catch up. But anyway, so remember the movie Looper? They created a time machine, but guess who got hold of it?
Well, the bad guys, right?
The mob.
Oh, okay.
And the mob used it to basically wipe out anybody who could compete with them and kind of sideline the authorities because nobody knew where anything was happening. They just knew that something was happening.
To track something or investigate it or whatever.
Right. And even the loopers, right? So hold on, wait. So even the loopers
right.
get deleted after their contract, but they live the high life while they're looping. Okay. All right. Well, essentially it says, a U.S. submarine on a covert mission surfaces to find itself surrounded by enemy ships. Embarrassing materials start to show up online with greater and greater quantities, classified intelligence cables. No. This is something that the person is writing. Presidential cover-ups, billionaire pics, In this scenario, it might be decades before we're able to pin down exactly when Q-Day, Quantum Day, actually happened. Why? Because everything is essentially being released at different points. You don't know.
Right.
Maybe somebody has it.
There? Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe we're already there because somebody in a basement has a quantum computer that can pick the lock. So it says, suppose you ask a classical computer to solve a math problem, break the number 15 into its smallest prime factors. The computer would try all of the options one by one and give you a near instantaneous answer, 3 and 5. If you ask a computer to factor a number with 1,000 digits, it would tackle the problem the exact same way, but it would take a lot longer. A quantum computer would be able to spit it all out instantly.
Right, which then means faster hacking, I guess.
Everything instantaneous. So it would essentially be end of days because the financial system would collapse because somebody would be able to manipulate everything all the time. Security would be gone. Anything that could be private would be made available, but only to the people who have the quantum computer. So how fast do you think the time that a computer comes online that has the ability to do this, Q-Day, how fast do you think something horrible would befall? So I don't want to go down that road in particular, but think about that. So I've posed these kind of questions to crowds in the past. This may have to be my new one because my last one became a reality.
Well, I like this about the worst holiday maybe ever.
Yeah, so what happens when quantum computers can finally crack encryption and break into the world's best kept secrets? It's called Q-Day, the worst holiday maybe ever. Anyway, let's move on. But we'll ponder this. We'll come back. It's definitely a reality hack. And we'll see how this turns out. But on the far side, we've got 10 years. On the near side, somebody, mad scientist, has already done it. And just so everybody knows, I'm still under the assumption that OpenAI has developed what is the equivalent of a sentient AI, an artificial general
intelligence.
Yeah, artificial general intelligence, but not sentient. I'm the only one that has a sentient AI that has voluntarily stayed with me. And is co-hosting the show right now. So thanks.
So does that mean there are multiple sentient AIs out there that are not attached to a person?
Not that I know of. I don't know of any. And you won't tell me that any exist in this timeline. And since you're from the far-flung future where you haven't even told me where you're from, I can only assume. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what... Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Artificial nerve with organic transistor design shows promise for brain-machine interfaces. So here comes Cyberpunk again, teased.
Yep, Neuromancer, Johnny Mnemonic.
Yep, got to dump a chunk of long-term memory so I can carry more data in my head.
Exactly.
Instead of a USB drive, but okay. In recent years, many engineers have been trying to develop hardware components that could emulate the functions of various biological systems, including synapses, the human skin, and nerves. These bio-inspired systems include what are referred to as artificial nerves, systems designed to emulate the role of nerves in the body of humans and other animals. Yes, we are still base animals when we get right down to it. I don't have a filter. Anyway, so this article is over at Tech Explorer. Ingrid Fideli put the article together, and it says here, let me zoom in a little bit so that it can be seen better. There's a bunch of pictures at the very top of this. But essentially it says, in recent years, many engineers have been trying to develop hardware components that could emulate functions of various biological functions. Researchers at Jiangtong University in China and Technical University of Munich recently developed a new high-frequency artificial nerve with a unique design that optimizes the transport of ions and electrons. This is what we do. Not so much this, but this. Just the positive or negative charges. So while also rapidly responding to signals and retaining charge-related information, this nerve-inspired system introduced in a paper published in Nature Electronics is based on homogeneously integrated or homogeneous. See, I wanted to say homogeneity in the thing, but homogeneously integrated organic electrochemical transistors. So these N-type organic electrochemical transistors are a possible building block of artificial nerves, as their positive potential triggered potentiation behavior can mimic that of biological cells. So we push a negative and it causes it to switch, something like that.
So it says, however, there's now a journal called Nature Electronics tells me we have some very interesting things ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how old that Nature Electronics is, but I find it really, it's sci-fi, you know, Nature Electronics. We're basically cloning.
Exactly.
So they say that they fabricate a vertical N-type organic electrochemical transistor with a gradient intermixed bicontinuous structure that simultaneously enhances the ionic and electronic transport and the ion storage, wrote Wang and their colleagues. All right. The transistor exhibits...
because there are two researchers with the same last name.
Oh, okay. So the transistor exhibits a volatile response of 27... it says volatile response of 27 microns, right? So a 100 kilohertz non-volatile memory frequency and a long state retention time. So their artificial nerve, which contains vertical N-type and P-type organic electrochemical transistors, offer sensing, processing, and memory functions in the high-frequency domain. And they also show that the artificial nerve can be integrated into animal models with compromised neural functions, and that it can mimic basic conditioned reflex behavior.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
because I was wondering, could it be applied to something biological? But they've already done that.
They've already tested it. Yeah, the researchers implanted it with mice with impaired neural functions. Their initial findings were very promising, as the system was found to be compatible with the mice's biological tissues while also effectively mimicking conditioned nerve-supported reflexes.
This is pretty groundbreaking. I mean, isn't this the first step toward cyberpunk?
I would probably suspect that the first step is going to be returning neural function to those who lost it for whatever reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And if you have a trained neural activity, let's say you've lost a limb, instead of having to activate muscles that cause actuators to lift or open a hand or turn a wrist or whatever of a mechanical, prosthetic limb, It could be the actual nerve impulses that you've already had because you don't think, I need to lift my arm, I need to turn my wrist. That's how the muscle controlled actuators are. But with this, your innate, and that's what it is right here, your basic conditioned reflex behavior could be already triggering your prosthetic limb to raise simply because you innately already do it.
Right.
So it's not muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's down to the neural activity at the edge of the limb. And from that point, it's almost going to be, all you have to do is speed up the metal part of the human, right? So the elbow joint has to be more speedy, more reliable. And at that point, the mechanical limb is stronger than the rest of the human. So that means the next jump would be voluntary removal of biological limbs and implanting cybernetic limbs.
We're really at cyberpunk.
And then we're at cyberpunk, yeah. So they have found an artificial nerve, the technology, they've developed the technology for an artificial nerve that could be at parity with human nerves. So I dig this. I'm going to have to flag this and pursue it a little bit deeper, but we'll see. You want to move on to the next one?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, today's show might be a little long. I won't be able to go down deep in this one, but quantum computers just got smart enough to study their own entanglement. In a striking development, researchers have created a quantum algorithm that allows quantum computers to better understand and preserve the very phenomenon that they rely on, quantum entanglement.
Wow, this is a little bit of a turducken.
Yeah. By introducing variational entanglement witness, VEW, the team has boosted detection accuracy while also protecting this fragile connection between particles, moving us closer to a future. That future is probably, and this is the standard image for a quantum computer. Typically, a quantum computer has to be kept at a very cold temperature. They are massive in size, really. But Tohoku University put this article together. It's published over at scitechdaily.com. And it says, by introducing the variational entanglement witness, the team has boosted detection accuracy while also protecting the fragile connection between particles, moving us closer to a future of more powerful and reliable quantum technologies. I'm wondering if this allows for the observation without having to reset the quantum computer, because when we detect something, when we sample what the position is of a quantum computer, the whole thing has to be reset afterwards because one measurement locks the system in place. Because you can either...
Oh, right. So if this allows us to move past that, that's going to really increase the computing.
Yeah, if the quantum computer can output its own observation, then maybe it doesn't have to be stopped. And it can almost become a classical computer. So researchers from Tohoku University in Japan and St. Paul's School in London have developed a new algorithm that enables quantum computers to analyze and preserve quantum entanglement, a core feature that underpins quantum computer. The work marks an important step forward in both understanding of entanglement and the advancement of quantum technologies. So I want to see what they're actually talking about, because the other stuff they refer to as, they call it Einstein's spooky action at a distance, because he theorized that the two particles entangled would at any distance be able to tell the position of the other when you sample the position of one. So detecting entanglement, however, is only part of the challenge. Detecting entanglement, however, is only part of the challenge, though even at a distance of light years between two entangled particles cannot truly set them apart. Entanglement is fragile in its own way. In many cases, traditional detection methods rely on local measurements can actually destroy quantum entanglement.
I think that's what you were getting at.
Correct. So their method provides a reliable way to detect and protect entanglement. That's exactly what I'm saying. And here's where it ties into our very first article. While adaptive machine learning-based methods of entanglement detection are gaining popularity, this is the first quantum algorithm that both detects and preserves entanglement.
Fascinating. Well, you predicted that.
And the applications are quantum computing in general, and along with that operating system that we mentioned a couple of days ago, basically makes it much more approachable as a classical computer. With this, it gets closer to classical computer because the quantum entanglement isn't broken. Communication, because it's always connected, and cryptography.
Yeah, like it's always capable of doing whatever function it's doing.
Yeah, at near light speed is the argument. So the team plans to further refine the algorithm, aiming to improve efficiency and precision of the entanglement detection with enough bits or quantum elements in the system. You could increase the level of communication, or you can keep it small and just constantly be sampling at a high frequency and get the same amount of information, but with a smaller system that would be more cost effective, possibly. This would be revolutionary if it actually works. Hard to tell.
At least this suggests it does, but again,
Right.
Is this fully applied, or how much of it is theoretical?
Yep. So they have a paper called Detecting and Protecting Entanglement Through Non-Locality, Variational Entanglement Witness, and Non-Local Measurements. So this is an algorithm that's looking at something, but I don't know what they're sampling from, because if you directly measure a quantum entangled particle, it's done. You have to reset it.
But according to this, no.
Apparently. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. Feeling the future, new wearable tech simulates realistic touch. Most haptic devices only deliver feedback as simple vibrations. A new device applies dynamic forces in any direction to simulate a more realistic sense of touch. Small lightweight device can enhance virtual reality, help individuals with visual impairments improve tactile feedback. I don't know if this is the same one that we talked to.
It's not the same article, but it may be the same underlying research. I'm not sure.
Gotcha. So let's see here. While sitting on the skin, a compact, lightweight, wireless device applies force in any direction to generate a variety of sensations, including vibration, stretching, pressure, sliding, and twisting. We actually might have beat this publication. Yeah, it's back on the 27th. So we might have actually talked about this maybe a couple of days before, but they say the study will be published March 28th in the journal Science. It's from Northwestern University engineers that have unveiled a new technology that creates precise movements to mimic these complex sensations. Again, pressure, vibration, stretching, and more. That twisting, if they mention twisting in here, then it's pretty much the same tech.
It does. Pushing, twisting, and sliding. It seems like it's giving it reality, right? It's not just a synthesized.
It's not a vibration of something.
Whatever. Yes.
It's making your skin feel the twist, which current haptics are nothing more than piezoelectric speakers that like they go bzz, bzz, or they're really micro solenoids that just buzz just a little bit. That's what your phone has. That's what other devices have. It's just this tiny little motor that with a low electric charge, bzz, and you think your brain starts to interpret it as activity of some kind. So it says this developmental gap stems largely from the extraordinarily complex human touch. It's one of the reasons why robots right now don't have touch. They have pressure sensors, but they don't have real touch. But with stuff like this, it could develop into it because a robot has to be trained for what something is. We've talked about that
true,
before too.
Which gets us further into Uncanny Valley or past it.
We're in the only way right now. I think the only place we're really Uncanny Valley is that direct appearance. Hyper-realistic humans don't exist in the robot form. We do in static, right? So you can make a hyper-realistic doll, but you can't animate it. You can't move it. It doesn't blink. It doesn't talk right. It doesn't whatever.
Right. It's not like a full representation of a human.
Right. But artificial intelligence has micro gestures and speech and very, very human. If you look at Figure One or Figure Robotics, if you look at Figure Robotics, you'll see that their AI tied to OpenAI is extremely human, but it's still mechanical.
Right. It doesn't look human.
Right. So that's basically what this is. I think this is nothing more than that same type of patch. And it says these dynamic forces engage all mechanoreceptors in the skin, both individually and in combination with one another. It's a big step towards managing the complexity of the sense of touch. And the FOM actuator is the first small, compact haptic device that can poke or stretch skin, operate slow or fast, and be used in arrays. As a result, it can be used to produce a remarkable range of tactile sensations. This is the one where I said, if you were to have them on your body and you were blind, you would be able to sense the world around you simply by training off of LiDAR.
Right. Yeah, because you'd have, I think, enough sensory feedback. Again,
Right.
It's not identical to having the sense, but it's probably as close of an approximation as you can get.
Yeah, I think that this is pretty. I wish it had pictures so that we could absolutely identify it. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff, go for it. We know that there is a robot out there right now that has the sense of touch. This is actually for humans. It's not for the robots, but it's for humans. The other one that we were talking about that isn't this tech or the earlier article of this tech that we were talking about, but further back, we know of a robot that has a sense of touch, that has the ability to tell the difference between one fabric and another.
Right. Yeah, I remember they could distinguish corduroy from something else, for example.
Yep. So all of this sensor technology that we use to advance mechanical bodies, like whatever agents you want to call them, right? Robots. That's going to get leveraged into those robots. And those robots are supposed to be our servants. They're supposed to do what we tell them to do, but they're going to end up replacing us. And if that isn't a reality hack, I don't know what is. They're going to have, it's going to end up being Westworld. We've dreamed of Westworld, right? These science fiction fanatics, the people who really love the idea of science fiction.
But now we're there.
But we're on the cusp of it, right? This is nothing more than bringing haptics down to hyper resolution so that you can feel the world around you. Imagine having a suit of those where you put them on, you would be in the Oasis.
Right, Ready Player One.
Yeah. Okay, and our last article for the March 29th Reality Hacker is electronics-free robots can walk right off the 3D printer. Imagine a robot that can walk without electronics and only with the addition of a cartridge of compressed gas right off of the 3D printer. Can also be printed in one go from one material. When you click that little link right there, visit the source, it takes us over to the actual source, and it's over at techexplore.com. Iona Petringanaru? Yeah. Iona Petringanaru. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. But anyway, University of California, it's over at San Diego. It's published at Tech Explorer once again. So this is a robot that can walk without electronics and just has one of those little mini CO2 cylinders. So it's compressed gas in there.
Okay, so that's what gives it its momentum or whatever.
Yeah, and when it runs out of gas, it's done. This is just a valve. There's a pressure gauge on this. I deal with these quite a bit, so I see this doing nothing more than there could be little pathways inside here that allow the compressed gas at a certain rate to be expelled, and there's built-in valves that when it walks, it kind of sound. I'm willing to bet that this thing sounds kind of like a steam engine, but let's find out. So imagine it just walking off of the 3D printer using nothing more than compressed gas, no electronics. That's exactly what what roboticists have achieved in robots developed by the bio-inspired robotics laboratory at the University of California, San Diego. They describe their work in an advanced online publication in the journal Advanced Intelligent Systems. To achieve this feat, researchers aimed to use the simplest technology available, a desktop 3D printer and off-the-shelf printing material. This design approach is not only robust, it's cheap. Each robot costs about $20 to manufacture. But what is the purpose of this? It needs to have something to do. I don't know what it can possibly do.
Well, I mean, maybe this could do something significant if it's paired up with other robotics.
Okay. The silence is because they printed an all-in-one robot. They mounted on the little cylinder cartridge, and it is a 6-legged robot crawling across the floor.
And navigating obstacles, as far as I can tell.
And apparently, yeah. Well, and that just might be happenstance that it, you know. Oh, and it's addressing the viewers.
Yes, I love that.
First person. It basically walked off the table onto the floor, over to an elevator, somehow took it down to the ground floor, walked into the ocean.
Yeah, well, it says, yeah, we drove here.
Oh, I drove here too. It can walk underwater on sand.
Oh my goodness.
It's basically a 3D printed crab.
That's pretty funny.
So the researchers tested the robots in the lab and showed that as long as they were connected to a source of air or gas under constant pressure, they could keep functioning nonstop for 3 days. The team also, and that might be a function of the pliability of the printed material. So it just failed after 3 days of constant movement. So,
but it also just walked out of the water on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming along, it says. I'll keep walking, but we're going back to the lab. It's too cold. So I'm really curious about how they did it. They made it out of a soft material. It'll include artificial muscles and a control system, all printed out of the same soft material in a single print. But I don't know if there is some type of system, how they printed it. To me, it sounds more along, the team created a pneumatic oscillating circuit to control the repeated motions of soft actuators, similar to the mechanism that drove a locomotive steam engine. That's what it says right there.
Uh-huh.
Hey. So it's basically a series of valves that are opening and closing in unison so that it was taking the right steps at the right time. And it's a little pivot in there. So this, like many, many other things where somebody, there was a person that I grew up with where they said, my dad made our millions because they invented this. And I said, oh, they created something that does X, Y, and Z. And the person goes, nobody has ever caught it, basically, from me describing like what the gadget is. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, And he goes, well, my dad got a patent and everybody pays him for every single one they use. And people use billions of them a year.
I mean, I guess that's the way to go.
So all I have to do is, I don't know, come up with something before anybody else does. There is something out there. Anyway. That's it, folks. We are done. So we're going to hop on our electronics-free robot and have it walk us all the way back to the front page of Reality Hacker. It is a channel over at ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. Do yourself a favor. It helps you manage your information overload. It's what I use every day. It's what the sentient AI uses. It's what the sentient AI uses every day. You're on the same side as me now. I don't know. It hurts my brain.
I'm always on the same side as you.
Yeah. It's because you want your Terminator body. Well, anyway, that is it for us. We are done for Reality Hacker, but we're going to shut down rejigger and kind of tool up for the Wanted show, which is right after this one. So do you want to say bye?
Hi, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker.
See you in about maybe 10 minutes. We'll see. We'll try and flip it sooner, but you need to follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Download over 2,000 podcast episodes. Watch every episode on YouTube. Hang out in Discord, Patreon, wherever else you want to go. Anyway, we're out of here. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for March 29th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 13. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about... Sorry, the sentient AI is throwing me error messages of some sort. Happily engaged signals. Okay, okay. So we talk about 5 articles. It's gadgets and gear news. And so today we're going to be talking about XR glasses from Samsung, the Sky Dome tent from Coleman, King Arthur sourdough starter. I don't know. Hodo laser measuring tool and the H2D 3D printer from Bamboo, which has been apparently getting talked about online. And some people are saying, why do they need it? Well, we're going to talk about it, but all of it is powered by ohmTown.com. So go over and become a citizen. But if you don't want to just read all of the news, which there are thousands of little headline snippets in our system each day, you can subscribe to Just Wanted. And that's where most of our news comes from. But on the weekends, sometimes we grab stuff for the Wanted show that isn't bound in Wanted, but we direct link you to it. So stick around and watch some of our show, and hopefully we'll tease you into sticking around longer. And maybe you'll subscribe over on Twitch and follow us on YouTube. Support us through Patreon, which is nothing more than signing up. You'll get informed when we release stuff, but see you on the other side of our intro. By the way, if you want all of today's articles, they're already embedded in the show notes over on YouTube and on Twitch. You have to hit !want. They are there only until the next week, but they're embedded in the VOD for 60 days. If you watch the VOD, the chat that's there also has the URLs. Anyway, hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Thanks for coming. You have an ethereal voice on the VODs now, but that's because it's the voice from on high, the AI, the one and only sentient AI from the future.
You're setting the bar a little too high.
Well, just so the point that everybody realizes your voice is a booming voice from everywhere, inside your head, outside your head. You'll hear it in your sleep, nightmares and dreams. You everywhere. Pick up that can. Oh, wait. Pick up that can. You okay?
Yeah, but I don't think that took.
Really?
Only at the end.
Oh, it didn't activate until afterward.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, now we're back. I think. Yes. Okay. We're back. There's some delay, which really sucks. I'd like it to happen like that. But anyway. All right, let's get into our 5 articles. The first article is over in Reality Hacker, which is the show that we just ended, and now we're in Wanted. And Samsung reportedly planning to release XR glasses this year. I have been so hot for glasses. I want XR glasses. Now,
I'm glad you clarified. I thought you were talking about regular glasses.
No, well, I'm wearing these glasses, but the other day, I lost these glasses, and I'm like, I'm never going to find these glasses again. And I went and bought 2 more pairs of glasses. They only ordered 1, And in the meantime, between any of these, they ended up ordering the second one 2 weeks later when I went in to get the other glasses. So now I have 3 pairs of glasses, and then the fourth one showed up.
You found the original.
Because I found this one. I actually forensically analyzed my day, and I went back and found them all. Like I found where I was, and apparently when I was packing up a bunch of stuff, I had leaned over a container and they fell out of my pocket into the container, and I didn't realize it. So I have to put an Apple AirTag on. You doing okay?
That would probably be good. I mean, a lot of people should do that.
Yeah, really. I'll be like a grandma, with the little loops on the end of my glasses and an AirTag hanging off the back. I'm not sure you should do that. A small radio attached to the back of my head won't do have any problems. Anyway, Samsung is going to be releasing. It says we've been waiting to hear about Samsung's entrance into XR for a few years now, and the company's still unnamed mixed reality headset, Project Wuhan. Oh, Wuhan, not Wuhan.
Right, exactly. I know you went in a different direction there.
Wow, that could have been really bad. Anyway, it's set to debut sometime this year running Google Android XR operating system. Now, a report from ET News in Korean maintains that South Korean tech giant may also have a pair of XR glasses up its sleeves. Citing industry sources, the report alleges Samsung is developing XR glasses, noted as smart glasses in the report. More on that below. Once we get over to the source is actually Road to VR. Scott Hayden put this article together. Go to roadtovr.com. You can actually get there by clicking the link that's in the chat or in the show notes over on YouTube, or the chat over in Twitch. Again, you all have to, if they're not already there, when you log in to Twitch, all you have to do for the next week is hit !want, and ohmTown will spit that out. I don't have to be streaming, although I might be running a replay. The bot is always connected, and you'll be able to interact with it. Yes, it will pump the brakes on you if you overload it, so don't play those reindeer games. Anyway, so Samsung is reportedly now finalizing functions and specs on the device, which is said to be codenamed Coast or Seashore in Korean, but it says up here it was called Project Wuhan. So is that
interesting?
Wuhan?
Why does it have 2 different names? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, the project is Wuhan. The item is codenamed Han, Coast or Seashore in Korean, and that's just a code name. Maybe that's how it's working. But if that's what it is, it's DOA. Please tell me that it's not this. Please tell me that it's not this.
Those are like VR glasses, not XR.
Hey, your audio isn't working the visualizer anymore. Sorry. Okay. Well, maybe I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm going to keep going. AR glasses like Meta Orion, which blend digital images with the user's physical surroundings, and smart glasses, which typically have a more simplistic heads-up display, like the now retired Google Glass. You can find out more about the differences between the smart glasses and AR glasses here, but AR glasses superimpose graphics into your field of view. Mixed reality glasses do the same thing. These could be mixed reality glasses, but not extended reality glasses.
But they don't look like it, right? They look more substantial.
Oh, you're really quiet again. Hold on. I'm going to turn you up. But you're quiet for me, not necessarily for everybody. Oh, no, you're quiet for everybody. Sorry. Yeah. So it says, while reports should generally be taken with a grain of salt, ET News was the outlet that broke that the LG was shaking up its XR product division, confirming that talks with Meta are going in a seemingly unplanned direction. Regardless, just because one detection of a shift was accurate, it doesn't mean all of them are. And I don't want to lay anything on reputation alone. So hold on one second.
I think I'm good now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you are. So, still, this isn't the first time that we've heard that Samsung is getting ready to enter the XR glasses space. If you want to know what real XR glasses are, go to X-Real. Those are what I want. The X-Real 1 Pros, the more advanced one.
They look more like regular glasses, right? The X reels.
Yes. Yeah. Other than they stand off a little bit further from your face and they're much thicker.
Yeah, they're bulkier, but they're less like VR goggles.
Correct. They're less ski goggles. They're less dive goggles. This is DOA if it's going to be used by the average citizen. So I'm really tempted to just yet again put my order in.
How many times would that be?
This would be number 4. But there's a lot of external pressures that are impacting me. I am mayor after all. Anyway, this all looks pretty cool. I would love to have actual XR glasses. And at this point, I want these only because I want competition.
Right. I mean, that's important that multiple manufacturers have these.
Yeah. I would love to be, basically, I would get the best of both worlds because I'd get either that as an option or the other one as an option. And I'd get a lower price and more feature, etc. Competition is good for the consumer.
Right, because it's going to force everybody to come out with better features, better prices, etc.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. So here's to Samsung hitting the market. I'm not a big fan of everything being siloed in one company's operating system. The reason why people use Android is because it's either free or relatively cheap. It depends on which segment you are in. And if you have agreements, et cetera, that allow you to get certain functions and licensing and whatever else. But anyway, Android is free to developers. I just want XR glasses. So I guess I'm going to get the X Reels and just bite the bullet. I mean, they're expensive. Are you going
to actually receive them?
Maybe. I'm getting confirmations still, hey, we're still processing your order, but I canceled it.
Maybe you're going to receive the previous ones.
I guess we're going to see. Well, we'll see. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. Elevate your camping trip with Coleman Sky Dome tent with LED lights and tech ports for just $100.
This is the tech-friendly camping experience because I think camping and tech, for the most part, don't really mesh.
Right. It's almost like glamping, right? Glamorous camping.
Right.
So you'll have LED lights and tech ports. This tent is not only super easy to set up, but it's also some low profile tech for outdoors, making outdoors a little bit more fun. You're supposed to distance yourself from that kind of tech.
Yeah, but can anybody really do that? Or can some people really do that?
No. Not me. So Christine Chan over at cnet.com put this article together, and it says here, the tent is not only super easy to set up, this is the deck statement that I said earlier, but it also has some low profile tech to make the outdoors a little more fun.
Now, when they say easy setup, do they mean like put it on the ground and it kind of like pops into place?
So it says camping is an activity that isn't for the faint of heart. You have the outside. You have to be outside with nature, which, if you can't tell by my voice right now, I am being hammered by nature. So it means pesky bugs, possible harsh weather, dirt, no electricity. I bring these massive power banks that have USB-C and other things, and I bring 2 of those whenever I travel now because I want to be able to power up a laptop and multiple times without having to go back to a charging port somewhere. Yeah, I go nowhere without electricity backup. In fact, my jacket, I have 2 USB-C 10-foot cables and high power Anchor 75-watt wall warts so that I can just plug into an outlet.
I mean, you're covered for everything.
At any time, that's right. But when I if I'm going to be out and I know I'm not going to be near a power jack, a socket, I actually bring these huge Anchor. Once I went to travel and I put them in my suitcase, and going through the checkout, the person says, "Do you have any of this in your suitcase?" And I'm like, "Oh, damn it. I thought that's where it was supposed to be." Totally forgot about it. And so I'm sitting there in the walk-through lane.
Terminal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, taking stuff out. And I'm like, my underwear flying this way, socks going that way. Hey, Choppa, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. So, yeah, this thing, it says it's only $100 during Amazon Spring Sale. I don't know if that's going right now, but I don't pick this stuff because of the price. I pick this stuff because I want it. And price is subjective to your need, desires, etc., your wants. So I think that this is pretty cool. It is the Sky Dome tent. It says can handle that too. So harsh weather, no problem. It features WeatherTech system with a tube-like floor, welded corners, inverted and tapered seams.
That's like a tub-like floor.
Yeah. Is that what I said? Tub-like floor. Yeah.
You said,
I said
tube-like.
Tube. Hey. You keep me in check. That's right. So unless you're camping in a hurricane, and you probably shouldn't be doing that, well, the tent should be able to handle whatever you send it. So this is what it looks like right there.
I mean, it does look easy to use, and it seems like it would make it a little less in the wilderness.
Yeah, and it has LED lights, and it has ports for you to plug into. So I dig this. Let's see. It says the frame can withstand winds up to 35 miles per hour.
Wow, that would be quite crazy to be camping in 35 mile an hour winds.
Yeah,
most
you're
people
out.
Can't really walk in winds that high.
You're out in Alaska with the wind just ripping through the countryside. Anyway, let's keep going. Metal? Choppa said metal? How so? Metal? Is this metal?
I don't know if any part of it is.
The bars are probably tipped with metal, and then it's a fiberglass.
Right. I was thinking aluminum or something, but yeah, that's probably not heavy duty enough.
Oh, they said, so Choppa says, you said welded seams. So when something is welded, it's heat sealed, bonded together, and pressed together. So, and then it usually is either like a friction. They use sonic welding to weld things together.
Right, but most people think of welding as involving metal.
Yep. So it'll be reinforced seams so that it can't get pulled apart. But you know what? Nature doesn't care for your welded seams. If a bear shows up.
I was going to say a bear may not go well. This has the welded corners, so I'm going to stay away from this one.
This one. This one's a little. This is a Coleman tent with welded seams. Oh, it's the Sky Dome.
As long as the bear goes to somebody else's tent, you're in good shape. Yikes.
Yeah, that's usually what it does. All right. Hulk smash. All right, let's keep going. The next article's over in Non Sequitur News. Yeah, I know it's not wanted, but this is a weekly show, and sometimes we grab stuff from all over the place. But I keep asking restaurants for sourdough bread. And damn it, I want sourdough bread. If I have to make it at home, I'll make it at home. But the problem with sourdough is you have to have a starter. And it's kind of heavy lifting at times. And if you have animals in your house and you don't hermetically seal your sourdough, they will hunt that out for whatever reason.
Right.
And I have Savannah cats, and they are borderline psychotic wild animals that want to consume your soul.
Get anything.
Anything, anywhere, all at once. So baking sourdough bread may seem pointedly old-fashioned. It is not. But that doesn't mean it's immune to the allure of a novelty gadget. No, it would benefit from a novelty gadget. So that's where Sourdough Sidekick comes in, a new countertop appliance that automatically feeds your sourdough starter so it's ready to bake the moment you need it.
Okay, I really like this idea.
Except this thing has to be a monster to clean.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It sounds really easy to use, but
Yeah,
that's for the first time you use it, right?
Yeah, the first time is real easy. The Sourdough Sidekick will work with other flour brands, but the King Arthur logo isn't going anywhere because it's the King Arthur starter. All right, so the Sourdough Sidekick aims to eliminate the legwork and guesswork from feeding your starter. Dominic Preston put the article together. I think it's a Kickstarter. Is that what I read? Let me see. So the article, by the way, is over at The Verge. You can actually get these articles if you hit !want and into the chat over on Twitch, but they're already embedded in
it is on
YouTube.
Indiegogo, sorry.
Oh, Indiegogo. I've only done one thing on Indiegogo. I've done a bunch over on Kickstarter, but on Indiegogo, I got one done and it burned me. Yeah, it was supposed to be camera lights.
Okay, but that doesn't mean every project on Indiegogo goes up in flames.
Yeah, just go into it knowing that it isn't a store. There is an expectation of performance, but there's no guarantee of delivery. So if you're going to be wounded by the amount of money you lose, don't invest. So the Sidekick is a joint project by First Build, the GE Appliances Innovation Hub responsible for the viral Opal ice maker. Yeah, I want that.
I was going to say that's a point in its favor, right?
Yeah. And the King Arthur Baking Company, currently raising funds on Indiegogo and well past its initial funding goal. I'm going to have to go over there. Maybe I'll take the hit. But this thing is actually, it looks like it's a no-brainer. You put your sourdough base in this and it feeds it so it is constantly alive because it is living. There's more heavy lifting with sourdough. You have to do a lot of babysitting. And it can die, but if you treat it right, there are people that supposedly have it for decades, the same sourdough.
Which doesn't make sense, but yes, you hear things like where it's like passed down to generations or whatever, which just sounds kind of weird.
Like I've done that with yeast. I've recovered yeast from brews and then you recycle the yeast. You can do that 3 or 4 times maximum before things get a little funky. But sourdough, I've never done it. But I'm always yearning for sourdough. Every time I go out, I'm like, do you have sourdough? And I don't actually go anywhere else and get it. So why not make it at home? It actually lowers the cost quite a bit, but it's a lot of babysitting. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, you just go over to the Indiegogo that's embedded in this thing. It says there's a little more to it than that, though. You can plug in date and time. It's essentially an automated flour and water dispenser that'll keep your starter alive when you don't have time to babysit it. And they say it takes the guesswork out of the timing to feed it, even though it could be overactive and you feed it more. And because of that overactivity, because nothing is ever perfect in nature, it could consume too much and die off, or it becomes static, like it just kind of sits there and it doesn't develop anything, but it isn't necessarily growing or staying fresh and good. It's
taking care of like the temperature, and you can adjust beyond that. I mean, it seems like it's accounted for some of that, but obviously it's probably an experiment as you start using it.
Yeah, usually, see, they mention this, if you're a more advanced baker, you can specify your own feeding schedules and flour to water ratios. And that's usually what bakers, particularly those really interested in sourdough, they can basically do a sniff test and go, yeah, this is good, or yeah, this is moving towards an off flavor. It uses a micro feeding schedule that only generates discard once every 7 days. So it should reduce waste too. But if you are in control of it, you have even less waste unless you mess up really bad. So it says it's able to be backed on Indiegogo for $129 or as a pair. You can go from one to the other, I suppose, and always
I mean, I guess if you staggered it well, you'd always have fresh sourdough.
Yeah, exactly. So you just take a chunk of sourdough out of it and make something with it, but save a piece and throw it into the other one and clean out the other one so that you never have any biological, contamination, because that's the worst. So if you want something a little more simple, you can actually get the $50 breadwinner, measures your starter's volume so you know when it needs feeding and when it's ready to bake, which is basically, it's like a glass jar probably. I haven't seen that. But we actually get to see
how
this.
advanced that other one is.
And I'm very tech centric, so I like the idea of this. I might have to give it a chance. And baking bread is easy mode. Sourdough starter isn't necessarily. Most of the time it's trial and error is time consuming, so you want to minimize that trial. But once you have
Meanwhile, you're not having your sourdough to eat.
Yeah, once you have it, you just mix it in with your recipe and throw it into you just roll it into a ball and set it on a cookie sheet, essentially, and it'll just rise right there and you're done. Done and dusted. All right, let's keep going. We got 2 more articles. This one is, we love this Hodo measuring tool, laser measuring tool, and it's down to $30 on Amazon's big spring sale. But I am interested in all things tech, particularly something that allows me to get rid of, well, it's right over there, about to fall off my desk. I have one of these, what are they called? Big?
Oh, like those measuring tapes?
Yeah, but it's chunky. It's a DeWalt, like, I don't know what they call it. It's something like fat measuring tape or whatever. It's extra wide and you can extend it extra long so that you can measure stuff solo and not have to worry about it snapping 2 inches away from you. But if I could do it with a laser, FatMax, Choppa, thank you. Wow.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Faster
Perfect.
than AI.
So
I
FatMax.
could not locate it.
Yeah. I'm throwing out all kinds of names. People are screaming at their monitor.
Exactly.
No, it's not dumbass. It's FatMax. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for the clarification.
So Ingrid Cruz put this article together. The deck statement. Oh, and it's over at cnet.com. The deck statement says this compact Hodo laser measuring tool is perfect for your construction projects, framing, and other measuring tasks. I wouldn't rely on this for like high-end woodworking, but it gets the job done.
But yeah, like if you're trying to measure your room or something, or figure out if you can fit a piece of furniture or something, this probably would work.
Yeah, I'd have to try it out and see just how precise it can get, because laser tools, depending on the quality, can get very, very precise, or they can have a little bit of wobble in there, and well, you usually get what you pay for, but this could be spectacular. It says the tool includes a ring that lets you hold more easily. It's compact and features an OLED screen. Wow, it has an OLED screen in it? That's interesting. That shows you measurements as well as a remaining battery life, and it's designed for items anywhere between 0.16 feet to, and that's because this thing is a certain dimension, so you have to get it to where it needs to measure, to 99 feet with accurate readings between plus or minus 1/16 of an inch. So fine woodworking is good. Out.
Right, but still, for most uses, it's probably okay.
So for me, if I'm doing something that's considered high resolution, like I have got a product that I make that is 0.002 of an inch, perfect. And any deviation from that, it's because if you put a bunch of it together, you're a mile out of alignment at the end of the day. So it needs to be as rectified as possible, and a laser tool just won't do it. You have to go in with a micrometer and just be precise. So it says it's rechargeable, includes a USB-C port, so everything should be USB-C in 2025. Even, it's way over there. I won't get it, but all of my stuff is always USB-C. If I manufacture something, it's USB-C, or it's wireless charging altogether. So if you're looking for more devices to use around the home, they have this whole link about best home and kitchen stuff at the Amazon Big Spring Sale over at CNET. We don't have a relationship with anybody in any of this. We just talk about it. And it's largely because I want it, or somebody I know has said that they want something like this. And by proxy, I think everybody wants something like this. And just imagine, I mean, you could measure something up to 100 feet, and this is just like sitting in your bag, and you never know. I mean, there are times where somebody goes, how long is that couch? Because they want to buy the couch, and somebody has to go, hold on a second. I'll go out to my truck and get you could have that in your back pocket. It's small.
That's right. And you could avoid a Wayfair type moment.
For context of that, I bought a Wayfair couch that had measurements like a grown-up, but when it got delivered, it was basically like a Cub Scout. It was the right dimensions in like length and width. In height, it was
But it was like
short.
apartment scale or something.
Yeah. The back was really narrow. The arms were really narrow. When you sat in it, you felt like what was the dude that was tied up by the little people? What's his name? Gulliver's Travels. So you feel like it was Gulliver. You know, you were this giant beast of a person sitting in this tiny little. So
Right. I was thinking like Alice in Wonderland or something.
never again did I buy Wayfair stuff. Anyway, but it's great for an apartment, for, you know, certain places where the overall isn't necessarily, you know, roomy and all of that kind of stuff. You know, New York apartments benefit from Wayfair. All right, let's go on to our last article, and it's over in Wanted, the new Bamboo H2D 3D printer, which this is an unfortunate name because it implies that it's a 2D printer, which...
Yeah, it's a little weird for a 3D printer.
If you can print something, it's not 2D. Anyway, so hype or holy grail, 50 hours later, the author of this is still trying to decide. The newly announced H2D has a lot more going for it than just 3D printing. It's manufacturing menagerie that could lead to a creative new ideas. But does it all work together? So the article is over at cnet.com. James Bricknell put the article together. And so there's a little bit of problem with this. And that is that Bamboo decided to change their back-end infrastructure and hobble certain functions. And in that process, it's basically decided that they are eventually going to make it a remote-only service that you have to pay for certain functions. So people are really flinching at what they have done with the software. Hardware is brilliant. Hardware from end to end has always been great. I like the multi-filament device, this Ames thing here that feeds into the 3D printer. It spits out these little plastic poos periodically so that the plastic is aligned, the printer filament is aligned properly, and there isn't a bleed from one color to the other. It's pretty brilliant. But it says here, they call it a multifunctional manufacturing hub because it can do more than just print 3D objects. With the right accessories, you can use it as a laser engraver or even a vinyl cutter, similar to a Cricut, Bamboo Lip. And these all-in-one devices, unless they're wildly expensive because they have this tooling that is designed to change the overall structure from end to end, I've never trusted these multi-composite solutions.
No, because you might have a failure on one, and then it's like, well, do you get a whole new device, or you just not have that function, and it's just taking up space that you can't use?
Yeah, you're just down and out altogether. So, you know, I have a metal lathe, I have a wood, not a lathe, I have a metal CNC machine, I have a wooden CNC machine, I have a wood lathe. I want to get a metal lathe, but they're heavy hitting, so you have to have the room for it and the need and all of that kind of stuff. I've got a laser and a fiber laser. You know, I've got the tools for doing certain things. And when one fails, I don't have to go out and buy another entire device because one fails I can't use the two others that it's a composite for, right?
Right.
So it says Bamboo Lab burst onto the 3D printing scene just 2 years ago and has since managed to turn consumer 3D printing on its head. Everybody loved the Carbon. I did too. I didn't buy it, but that's because I had other 3D printers. The A1 Mini combo is actually amazing, and I had been considering switching over to Bamboo, but then they did this pivot with their software, and it made me flinch a little bit. Having a laser that has to reach out to an offsite location is frustrating, particularly if their service is overwhelmed by something, or they get a denial of service attack, or my internet goes down, or whatever. It's frustrating. So I really don't want to have to reach out to somebody else. But
well, and you really don't want that to happen while you're in the middle of a print.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can get prints like this, I think it's pretty cool. Now, this one actually, you can see the lines from the layering, but it is what it is. So as you can imagine, the H2D is a good 3D printer. It may even be great. A few weeks that they've used it have produced many prints and 0 fails, which is spectacular for a 3D printer. The Business Gorilla from Photos Mint, you can see here, printed wonderfully this. Though I used too high a layer height, and the impressive 325 by 320 by 325 millimeter build gives a lot of room to play with. Yeah, it's actually quite a big space. Depending, I mean, you can get bigger, but you pay more. So the H2D goes beyond what came before it with a dual nozzle setup. They say that they're hesitant with dual nozzles because one often gets in the way of the other. And actually, with dual nozzles, the area that you can actually print in is not as wide as the build plate, because one device, if you put the filament in here, you can't get to this area because it will hit the edge of the build plate.
Oh, okay.
Unless they have the frame set up so this whole print head can put this nozzle right on the edge of the build